at 6 o'clock. It might be the TV.
Yes. Do we have a land? Can you report out one of us? And then we go.
So we already developed that. So now we're here.
Yes. Do we have a land acknowledgement? The land acknowledgement.
I think Elizabeth is.
Barbara, we have the land acknowledgement.
Texting. So we already called, and I'm gonna lead the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And then Trustee Goodall, can you do the land acknowledgement?
The Pacifica School District acknowledges that we gather on the unceded ancestral homelands of the Ramaytush Ohlone people. As guests, we humbly extend our gratitude to the Ramaytush Ohlone elders and community. We recognize that we benefit from living and working on their traditional homeland, and we affirm their sovereign rights as First Peoples. As the original stewards of this land, the Ramaytush Ohlone understand the interconnectedness of all things and the importance of maintaining harmony with nature. Likewise, Pacifica School District commits to teaching our school community how to be responsible stewards of this land.
Barbara, can you take the roll?
Yes, trustee Goodall,
Here,
trustee Burkini is trying to.
She's right there.
Oh, here. Thank you. Trustee Doggett. Here. Trustee
Minute.
Patel is absent. Trustee Gillibo.
Here. The district records the audio portion of the meetings. All recordings are kept in the superintendent's office for 30 days and are available during that time period for inspection by members of the public on district equipment without charge. In-person speakers wishing to address the board on agenda or non-agenda items, please complete a request card with your name, address, and the item number and submit it to the board president or superintendent. You will be called to address the board and may speak for up to 3 minutes. Virtual area of the webinar. Please do not submit comments or questions in the Q&A area. Please note, the public is welcome to provide comment to the board or limited by vote of the board. A maximum of 20 minutes unless extended by non-agenda items or information you may bring up that are not on the agenda. Additionally, no action can be taken. However, the board may give direction to staff following a comment. We're on number 6, approval of the agenda. Are there any questions? Do I have a vote? Or I'm sorry, a motion to approve the agenda?
how much is it here?
Second. Trustee Goodall,
Yes,
Trustee Burkini,
Yes.
trustee Doggett,
Yes.
trustee Villabrook.
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0.
The board met in closed session to discuss the closed session items. A, conference with legal counsel, existing litigations, Government Code 54956.9, case names unspecified, confidential people matters. The board, there was no action taken, sorry. B, conference with labor negotiators, Government Code Section 54957.6, agency designated representative Karen Resendez, employees, superintendent, and unrepresented employees. There was no action taken. Public employee performance evaluation, which is number C, title superintendent, no action was taken. And then approval of the consent agenda. All items on the consent agenda will be approved with one motion, which is non-debatable, and which requires a unanimous vote for passage. Any member of the board, the superintendent, or the public so requests, any item shall be removed from this section and placed in the regular order of business following approval of the consent agenda. Are there any questions? Linda? No. And do I have a
No.
motion to approve the consent agenda?
I'll motion approved. I'll second.
Trustee Vidal,
Yes.
trustee Burkini,
Yes.
trustee Doggett,
Yes.
trustee Villabrook.
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0.
Now we are in number 9, superintendent and board special recognitions. We have Tyler Kwan and Calypso Camilli, student board representatives will be recognized for their service to the district.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Good evening. I am proud to come before you this evening as we recognize two of our amazing students. Want to recognize them with the letters. Couple of things. We have two students who were asked to serve as board representatives and also the lead of the Superintendent Advisory Committee. This year, we were excited that we had several of our students apply. We had advisory applications out to our students. It was open to grades 5th through 8th. And we had several students interview. So among all the students who were selected to participate on the Student Advisory Committee, there were 2 students who were selected not only to serve on the Superintendent Student Advisory Committee, but to facilitate, to lead, and to collaborate, but also to serve as the Board of Trustee student representative to continue to lift student concerns, student voices throughout our Pacifica School District community. This evening, in addition to presenting them with a certificate, myself and our Board of Trustees, it is my pleasure to also present them with a letter of recommendation. It is important that they take this recommendation on with them because it is reflective of the work and the service that they have provided to Pacifica on behalf of our students. And so I just want to read a little bit from each one. They're very personal, but I'll just take a snippet because they're very different individuals with stellar, and I do mean stellar, leadership capabilities. And so first up, we're going to talk about who I learned is not only Tyler Kwan, but at the graduation, I learned he is referenced as TQ. So TQ, if I may address you as such, it is with highest enthusiasm and honor that I support Tyler Kwan. I recall Tyler's interview with the SAC committee. It was above all that we could have imagined. The research and detail embedded in each response immediately impressed the panel. Tyler's ability to engage with complex issues and contribute meaningfully to the budget decision-making process this year from a student leadership perspective has been awe-inspiring. His active participation and thoughtful insights have not only been invaluable, but have also significantly influenced our district's financial planning, keeping children first, keeping our students first, particularly in the area of reductions in saving student programs. This level of involvement and understanding of intricate budgetary matters is extraordinary for an eighth grader. Skipping to the end, conclude that TQ, Tyler Kwan, student of IBL, has proven to be an exemplary leader and an asset to our district. I am confident, Tyler, that you will continue to make significant contributions and excel in any opportunity that allows you to develop further and showcase your remarkable talents. I wholeheartedly wish you, Tyler, TQ, excellence in all that you endeavor. Please come forward. On behalf of the Pacifica School District Board of Trustees and Superintendent, I present this certificate of appreciation awarded to Tyler Kwan. Thank you for your outstanding leadership and service as a superintendent, student advisory committee facilitator, and board of trustees representative for the 2023-2024 school year, awarded the 12th day of June, 2024. Thank you so much. So when you become a student trustee at your high school, that they know that you are certified and you're ready to go. A picture?
Okay. I just want to say thank you for this opportunity. It's been a experience for me and definitely learned a lot from this.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Next up, representing the Valimar family, we have Calypso Camilli. Just a little snippet from your letter of recommendation. I am writing to provide my recommendation of Calypso Camilli. You have served as an exceptional member of our superintendent advisory committee and as a student representative on the school board during the 2023-2024 school year. Throughout your term, you have displayed strong leadership skills, insightful perspective, and a steadfast commitment to representing student voice effectively. In addition to your understanding of complex district issues, you have been instrumental in organizing agendas, facilitating our monthly meetings. Your organizational abilities and natural leadership skills have fostered productive and inclusive discussions, encouraging participation from all members. Calypso's, your approach to leadership is characterized by a genuine consideration for others' opinions in a collaborative spirit. Calypso, you are engaging and most importantly, self-aware, demonstrating a keen ability to reflect on your own actions and establish healthy boundaries, which is important to any leader, to maintain a balance between school life and personal well-being. This capacity of introspective decision-making and maintaining a productive environment is indicative of wisdom beyond your years. So in conclusion, you are a true problem solver. Never forget that. And you have been an asset to our district. Wish you well as your journey to high school begins. And I wish you the very best in high school. And I recommend you for any opportunities that will allow you to further develop and showcase your remarkable talents. Please come forward. Pacifica School District Board of Trustees and Superintendent presents the Certificate of Appreciation awarded to Calypso Camille. Thank you for your outstanding leadership and service as a Superintendent Student Advisory Committee Facilitator and Board of Trustees Representative for the 2023-2024 school year, awarded this 12th day of June 2024. Congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you so much for this opportunity to be able to represent my students and my peers, because it really has helped me grow and helped me represent people who I care about. So thank you.
Thank you so much to the board.
Can we ask where you all are attending high school? Terra Nova,
Oceana.
Oceana, okay.
I know, but I know they are
Congratulations.
very lucky. And then thank you, parents, for being here. You have definitely, your leverage and your influence over your children. We appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, I just want to thank them too, because there's something that happens when a student tells you that there's an issue or a problem when you're in the setting. And so I look forward to following up with everything that you brought to the board this year. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so we're moving on to communications. Megan, LSEA.
Tonight, LSEA would like to take a moment to appreciate Josie Peterson and her service to our district. Josie was a student of our schools, sent her boys to our schools, and has been a fixture of the district office for decades. While many of us have challenged her or been challenged by her, over the years, we know she is the reason this district has been able to get by on such a tight budget. Josie knew her job, and Josie gets the job done. Congrats on your choice to continue your career elsewhere, and thank you for your years of service, and good luck. Rachel Merlot and I had a successful 2 days in Sacramento, meeting with legislators and learning more details about the California budget and how it applies to public schools. We were able to secure meetings thanks to CTA with State Senator Josh Becker and State Assembly Member Mark Berman. While we were given a task and a goal from CTA to discuss Prop 98 and school funding, we did have time for some Pacifica small talk. Making these connections will hopefully help us in the future. Your board meeting agendas have been packed the last few meetings. There were multiple items LSEA leadership sought clarification and understanding from the superintendent in our meeting yesterday. In addition to those items being discussed tonight, we are interested in hearing more when you get to item 12D, block grant plan, and item 12M, an addendum to the superintendent's contract. I emailed you those details last night. Year 9 has been one of the busiest, if not the busiest, year I have had as union president. There has not been a lull all year. Our union has made great progress because of our members and their collective work and team approach. We are always eager to solve problems and share ideas for resolutions with each other, our administrators, and board members. While I'm the face at the podium for board meetings and the sender of emails to admins and the board, it is our team of certificated staff members at each site working together as a union. Next year, we will continue to fight for better learning and working conditions, fair compensation, and the resources we need to provide a quality education to our Pacifica students. We'll continue to support each other, advocate for our profession, and strive for excellence in all that we do. LSEA would like to welcome all new hires to our district office. We look forward to working with you collaboratively as we get ready for the next school year. Thank you.
All right, and CSEA,
Hi.
Tiffany.
Hi. Hello, my name is Tiffany Hanna, and I am one of the CSEA co-presidents. I would like to recognize the valuable and hard work that our 12-month employees will be doing while the majority of our members enjoy our summer break. This is a summer of change as we integrate existing programs from LMEC to several of our sites. This has created extra work to be done on top of the usual summer duties. I appreciate the dedication of our custodians, maintenance workers, and administrative assistants as their work is crucial in facilitating a smooth transition of these classrooms and services. I would also like to recognize our members supporting the summer programs: child nutrition cooks, paraprofessionals, behaviorists, and drivers. My apologies if I missed anyone. The children of Pacifica and the community are grateful for your dedication. Thank you.
And then next we have people wishing to address the board. Did we have any cards? I didn't get any cards, no. Online?
No.
Nothing. Okay, so moving on, we're on correspondence. Linda, we'll start with you. Did you receive any correspondence?
I got an email from LLCA yesterday and, that's the only one I can remember right now.
Hi. Elizabeth? I did have some correspondence. Bruce White, the chairperson of Boys and Girls Club, had a meeting yesterday, about the financial sustainability of the club. I'm not sure if anybody had a chance to go. Then I have been in communication with Tara Knotts, about her concerns for our program. And I'm going to paraphrase. She would like for us to be mindful when we talk about our special needs, our SPED program, CPAC, really any child that's having a challenge. And so instead of making it seem like they might be a hindrance in our district, rather turning it around and appreciating what they do for the district. And so CPAC just wanted us to know that. And I wanted to thank Tara too for sending that. Lynette Lazar, I'm also in contact with because we've had, since I've been on the board, we've had challenges with raising the scores of our SPED students. And so she has some ideas on how we can do that. So right now I'm trying to schedule a meeting during the summertime with her. I received a letter from Gwendolyn Holden. And the best news that we got was I received this today, and it's from, I'll just read it. Dear President Villalobos, I'm very happy to inform you that I selected the Pacifica Elementary School District Workforce Housing Project as one of my community project funding requests. And I've urged the House Appropriations Committee to fund them in the next fiscal year. She wanted to make it clear that this is not an award letter, but she's sending it to the final stage. And if we do receive it, it'll be $500,000 towards our workforce housing. And in closing, she just says, I'm proud to work with you and I'm very grateful for the important work you're doing to improve our community. And Anna Isho, Member of Congress. So that was very uplifting. And that's it for me. Did you have any correspondence?
No correspondence. Lots of correspondence, but.
Board Superintendent Communications. Linda, did you want to start?
Sure. Let's see. Since the last meeting, I attended the IBL graduation, which was excellent. I also had a one-on-one with Dr. Williams. I attended a parcel tax meeting to go over the polling and regarding that. Also was at the ribbon cutting for Ortega Field, which was really fun. And I'm not sure, I also was at the Cabrillo open house, but I might have reported on that once before. So that's it for me.
Kai?
I was at the board work, was it a work study? I want to say it was work study.
Yes.
For the evaluation and for the workforce housing. And then I attended Ocean Shores graduation, and that's it for me.
Okay, I was also at the Ortega Field ribbon cutting. The budget committee meeting that regarding the results on the survey for the parcel tax. Participated in the Pride Parade and Festival at Ingrid B. Lacey, and I think that was the 3rd annual, and they did a car parade this year. And it was very well attended. Music department meeting and Valimar graduation ceremony, which was really nice. It was held at Terra Nova Theater. And then last night was the Boys and Girls Club meeting that you mentioned. We need to find ways to support them. They basically are gonna have an annual shortfall, $300,000 to $400,000 to keep the Boys and Girls Club open. So they're looking at ideas in the community to raise money or donors or organizations. So just trying to, they can operate for at least another year, but they didn't want to be calling out at the last minute. So we need to help them gear up because they're, one of our main collaborators here in town with the school kids.
I attended my regular weekly meetings with Dr. Williams. I also attended the work study meeting. They gave an update on workforce housing and also the superintendent's evaluation. And then in another meeting, we met with CSBA to discuss the superintendent's evaluation and finalize. I also attended this graduation, and the highlight was attending the ribbon cutting for the Ortega Field, which has taken a long time. But it's here and it's beautiful and it looks so big now. So I can't wait to see it when there's like 4 people playing soccer and then baseball or softball or whatever. And that's it. Dr. Williams?
Yes, good evening again. I attended various open houses since our last meeting, the ribbon cutting. Also attended and helped organize it. Attended the special ed advisory committee meeting. Also graduations, several. IBL with trustee Brokini, very timely and on time. Also the Sunset Ridge, Cabrillo, graduation, had the opportunity to sit in the audience with parents and take pictures and have conversation, which was wonderful. And several parcel tax meetings and our monthly meeting with CSEA and LSEA, and also had a meeting actually last evening with PTO, PEF, and SPEC parents last night. So been busy productively.
And now we're on number 11, information items. Elna Flynn 2024 award recipients. And our speaker is Michelle Gray.
I'm gonna have to look this way so I can see, sorry. Hi, everyone. My name is Michelle Gray. I'm happy to be here. I'm representing the parent council reps from each of the PTOs. And I'm here to talk about our Elna Flynn Outstanding School Volunteers for their 2023-2024 school year. We had the banquet May 3rd at Nick's. It was really fun. It was very well attended. I will say before we get to talk about Elna Flynn, we had a couple of acknowledgements. We had PEF come as well. Like we're really looking to strengthen that relationship between the PTOs and PEF. So we're happy to have some attendees there. We also took a moment to thank Patrick Sayer and Nicole, who are leaving and heading east, as it were. So to thank them for all their hard work in the community. And so that was a nice special thing in addition to all the normal stuff we do. So I wanted to talk about Elna Flynn. I have to get closer. I'm so sorry. This is a peer recognition award. So this is where each of the school communities will nominate someone in the spirit of Elna Flynn. She was our consummate school volunteer. Not only did she volunteer while her children were working through the Pacifica School District, but also after her youngest had gone off into high school, she stayed around, which is wonderful. And she really exemplified and set the standard that we all strive to as we work to enrich our school communities in whatever way we can. So thank you to everyone. It's always a hard selection because there's a lot of people at these schools that help quite a bit. And, but we wanted to highlight a few of the folks this year. Okay, next slide. Perfect. So we'll start with Cabrillo. And so this year's award recipient is Michelle Ryan. Michelle is actually a Pacifica native and she returned to Pacifica so that her daughter could actually attend the same school that she went to, which is really special. She's known for moving the Seas Candy fundraisers, and they have the most successful one, I think, of all of our schools. And she's also been instrumental with the Halloween spooktacular that they have there. So Cabrillo really just wanted to thank her for everything she's done and miss her with her relentless enthusiasm because wherever she is, she's making everything better. So congratulations to Michelle. For Ingrid B. Lacey Middle School, we actually had the Pearsons, so we had Matt and Jimmy Pearson. They just graduated out with their 8th grade guy, Nathaniel. They help at every opportunity. They ran the popsicles every single Wednesday relentlessly for the last couple of years, rain or shine. They also helped chaperone the team dances. They were instrumental in the 8th grade celebration activities this year. And so whenever there was a need, I knew I could just reach out to them and one of them would be able to help us out. So we want to thank the Pearsons for all their help. For LMC, it was Sam McNabb. It was wonderful to meet Sam. I hadn't met Sam before. Great mom, super community member. And she's been awarded this from LMC. She was nominated just from the countless hours behind the scenes. This is sort of an example of sometimes you're in front and everyone sees you volunteering, and this is an example of you're doing so much, but it's kind of behind the scenes. So we were really happy to be able to celebrate and thank Sam. For Ocean Shore, where there were 3 award recipients this year, we had Michelle, Becky, and Tara. So for Michelle has been around at the schools for about 12 years, helping in a lot of different capacities. She's decent, capable, organized, caring, and funny. And in talking with her, I can say all of those were absolutely true. So she's definitely had a profound impact, not only on Ocean Shore, but in the broader community working with at-risk kids. Becky, oop, there we go. Becky can do anything. That's what we hear. And it seems absolutely true. She's volunteered in every single capacity. She started assisting in the classroom and then moved over into teaching part-time and then full-time. And so she's had a huge impact on that community for a number of years. And Ocean Shore wanted to congratulate Becky and thank her. And then Tara, who we spoke about a little bit earlier, she does work harder than anyone else. I've known Tara for a couple of years. And she's definitely that person who's going to be stepping up when there aren't a lot of people making themselves available. She's a member of CPAC and has been active online and in person, helping, supporting any families whose children have different needs. And so Tara's been wonderful and we really want to thank her for her contributions at Ocean Shore and beyond. And then Ortega. So Ortega this year, the award recipient was PTO president and who will continue on, which is wonderful, which is Dawn. She's been an active volunteer at Ortega for a number of years. She's been on the board for over 5 years. She's been a garden volunteer. And if you ever need inspiration for your garden, you just have to go to that Ortega Garden House. It's absolutely wonderful. One thing that's very special about Dawn is that she really makes sure that the student is the center of any decision. So as we're talking about things at the PTO, she always really brings it back to make sure that this is the most we can do to benefit every single student in the Otter community. So we want to thank Dawn for all of her work. And for Sunset Ridge, we had 2 recipients this year. I know both of them, they're fabulous. Rebecca and Gina. Rebecca started out as a room parent. I knew Rebecca when our boys were in TK at Sunset Ridge. And she continued to work and volunteer in lots of different capacities. She has a stellar book fair. And the nice thing is she's actually transitioning into the library and media tech role next year at Sunset Ridge. So we're thrilled and very thankful for everything she does at Sunset Ridge. For Gina, Gina's been there for many, many years. She started out as a room parent for both of her children's classes, and she works really hard. She's stepped in as the PTO vice president this year, and she is instrumental in their Earth Day International Potluck. She had a big hand in Boo Fest. That's a really fun thing at Halloween. So we want to thank both Rebecca and Gina for all their hard work at Sunset Ridge. in Valleymar, right next door. So we want to thank Jamie Blanchard, PTO president. Jamie's been volunteering for a number of years with her son Tristan when he started at the school. So she's helped out on every school field trip. She's had various positions on the PTO from treasurer, PR secretary, and as I mentioned, that she's been serving as president now. She also has set the standard very high for a lot of these fundraisers at the school. They have Pony Flop, and she's been running that for a number of years, and that raised almost $100,000. And she had such an incredible readathon that the most successful one they've had is over $110,000 for the Valleymar community. So she's been a powerhouse there. And Valleymar Stallions want to thank Jamie for all she's done. I think that's the end of it. Okay. So thank you as always to all the school volunteers. You know, it's hard to kind of get that list down to 1, 2, or 3 for each of the schools, but it was a really fun evening. It was wonderful to celebrate these folks and give them a big pat on the back. Thank you.
All right, thank you to all the volunteers. We're now on 11B. 2024-25 school plan for student achievement, SIPSAS, and the speaker will be Will Lucy and the principals.
All right, hello. It's that time of year to present the SIPSAS. These are the school plans for student achievement. The school plans for student achievement for Cabrillo, Ingram B. Lacey, Ocean Shore, Ortega, Sunset Ridge, and Valleymar are presented to the board for review. We appreciate the opportunity for our schools to share highlights of their schools' SIPSAS and respond to questions and feedback from the trustees. The SIPSAS have been approved by each of the school's school site councils. We start off with this idea, some background information is this is something we've put up since the beginning, almost the beginning of this school year around our learner profiles and dispositions. And so I just want to make sure that we bring it back to this, that all of our SIPSAS, all of our LCAP planning is around this idea. The school site councils work together. The school site councils work to create a plan. And it builds on a premise that students are capable of learning with effective instruction and support. The goals of the school plan are aligned with the district LCAP goals. They're based on verifiable data, and they focus on student achievement, social emotional learning, and interventions. So each of the sites gets a preliminary site budget, and I say preliminary because it sometimes changes once we get our accurate numbers during the school year. And the left side here is that each school gets $35 per student for school materials and supplies, and those are the numbers for this. Those are the preliminary numbers for 24-25 school year. And then each school also gets the $900 per student per unduplicated student, and those are students of low socioeconomic English learners, foster youth, homeless. And they get $900 per student for that. So, and those are the numbers there below on the right side. That each school will have an opportunity to present their goals and highlights, and we're going to go in this order right now. And I think we have Tiffany up from Cabrillo, who will go first. Tiffany, are you there? You see her? Okay, let's give her a second to get up there.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, and you'll also choose me. Jean and Rachel and I are all here together in a room at our conference, so it'll still be my computer for them when it's their turn.
Okay.
thank you for allowing us to patch in tonight by Zoom. This is nice. We're enjoying a nice leadership conference this week, sponsored by the county. So that's been really enriching for us. But a few data points to consider, in looking at our 3 goals on our SIPSA, they're aligned to the LCAP goal. So these are just sort of the high level metrics that we look at when we're looking at bigger data points. So for our reading data, we're comparing this iReady data and CASP data from last year. They're pretty highly correlated. 67% of our students met or exceeded standards in ELA on the iReady, and 60% of students met or exceeded standards according to CASP last year. So both of those are increases from the prior year. In math, same thing, small increases in certain areas. So for our math diagnostic data for our iReady in the spring, 58% of our students met or exceeded standards. That was a slight decrease, but our CASP data was an increase from the year before. So 56% of students met or exceeded standards according to CASP for math. Our attendance data, this is still an issue that we have to continue to work on. We are 16.8% of our students were chronically absent last year, which was an increase from the prior year. So this is not a problem that's going away for us. We have to continue to address it through our SIPSA. So these are our 3 goals. Again, these are abbreviated, but they are all aligned to the LCAP goals. So what does access to rigorous and engaging instruction look like at Cabrillo? These are our focus areas. So the first one is having really strong SST referrals that are based on MTSS protocols. So we have a process to address when we have kiddos who are referred as possibly needing intervention or they're having some sort of academic struggle. We approach that through the lens of MTSS, and we're using tier 1 interventions before we move along in that process to make sure that we're providing all the interventions possible before we refer for more supports. But we also, it's really important at Cabrillo that we offer arts and drama electives, and those are offered in grades 3 through 8 in various forms. So we have Spindrift that comes and teaches drama classes, and we have lots of different people who come in and teach electives in our middle school that are arts and drama focused. But one thing that we're starting next year, this came out of a conversation with my leadership team, is doing a peer-led professional development where colleagues can go see other colleagues in their classrooms. So they'll sign up for a time where they can have somebody come sub in their classroom. That's probably going to be me. I'll just step into their classroom for a little while, or they'll go during a time where they have a prep and they can go and observe a colleague. But we thought that that would be a good practice for us to be able to, increase that rigor and find practices from other people in our building who are doing great things. We learn best from each other. Goal 2, how do we increase achievement and decrease performance gaps? We are going to really focus on utilizing the MyPath lessons in iReady this coming year. We're also going to be paying for half of the RTI teacher that we share with Valimar, who focuses on providing reading intervention to our unduplicated students. And we're also going to buy a license for Learning Ally. So our identified students have access to that. It's an audiobook resource for students. And goal 3, what are we going to do for increasing family and community engagement and reducing chronic absenteeism? We're going to continue with our weekly attendance campaign that was modeled with Sunset Ridge. So I know that a lot of us are using that same model to address attendance. So we'll continue doing that next year. As far as engagement, we are going to continue working through the Student Advisory Council that we've established at Cabrillo to address climate issues, culture issues at school. We are going to continue our partnership with Changing Perspectives next year to offer parent-family education workshops. They'll also be working directly with our Student Advisory Council. And we're going to continue to host our family and community engagement events that we do. We do things like Grandparents' Tea, the K1 Math Night, Pioneer Day, Famous Americans. We do lots of engaging kinds of activities where community and family is invited. So we will continue to host those events as well.
Okay. Thank you, Tiffany. We'll have an opportunity, I meant to say this after, we'll have an opportunity afterwards if you want to ask any questions, particularly of any of the principals. They'll stay on for that after part. Next up is Ingrid B. Lacey. You can run it here. Is that
Okay,
okay?
that's fine,
Just
that's
press the lower button.
Yeah.
We need to go next slide.
Yes. All right, thank you. Hi, I'm Kathy Alderson, principal of English Lacey Middle School. Can't decide where to look. So I started, when I was working with our school site council, we were taking a look, a deeper dive into our data and the results from last year, and then, kind of looking at this year's as well. So last year, we looked at the last couple of years, last 4 years or so, we were looking at drilling down into the vocabulary for the language arts, for the reading. And then we were also looking at numbers and operations. And so our goal in the past was the percentage of students who scored 2 or more years below grade level in vocabulary will decrease. And we didn't meet this goal. We wanted to decrease it by 8%. And on the flip side, for the reading, we wanted to decrease by 20%. And wait. Percentage of students. I'm sorry, that's math. So math was 20%. So we didn't quite make that goal either. So we kind of wanted to open it up and kind of restructure it a little bit. And so this year, we're taking a look at reading in general and mathematics in general. And when we did this, one of the things that we noticed, and we pulled up the data, is that there is significant achievement gaps between the students that are non-language learners, socioeconomically disadvantaged, and students with disabilities. So this is the early on, this is just iReady data. So the green is early on or mid or above grade level, and then the red is 1, 2, 3, or 3 or more years below. So we can see that there's kind of a significant achievement gap that we kind of need to really attack. And that's what our goal is going to be this year. So we kind of switched it. And so the goal is to increase the percentage of all students achieving grade level, paying close attention to the groups of students showing the greatest achievement gaps. Progress will be measured by using iReady and focusing on each of the subject groups. We're really hoping to look at just iReady instead of CAST, because CAST takes so long to get, and it's not the same cohort. So we're really going to focus on the iReady scores. How are we going to do this? Some of our strategies are, we're going to have some teacher support. You can't see this. Okay, I'll stand over here. To continue to provide curriculum training, iReady data analysis and training. Again, we need to focus on that. We've had several teachers really drill down and actually use it a lot and study the data. And they see improvement. So we're hopefully going to spread the news and get more people on those learning paths. Just like Cabrillo, cultivate professional learning communities through a number of techniques. One of the things that's come up that's super duper important, we think, is to have more collaboration opportunities with gen ed and gen ed teachers, but also gen ed and special ed teachers, really getting together those teachers so that it can understand how best to meet the needs of our students. Another important one is to provide vertical math articulation meetings with other 6th, 7th, and 8th grade teachers. I remember participating in this once myself for high school. We went to the high school district, and just understanding where they need to get to is so important. So even if we did that with 6th and 7th grade, 7th and 8th grade, and then 8th grade and 9th grade. Also for student support. So with student support, we offer an RTI elective, our Bulldog Scholars. Hopefully that's going to boost some academic and executive functioning skills. We are adding another level of RSP support. So this is going to be a class that's an RSP math and language arts for 6th grade and then 7th and 8th grade as well. And as well as continuing to push in with our paraprofessionals. We have an elective class for 6th grade for math intervention. We have a homework center for before and after school, which we find is really important for those students who need a place to go and have a quiet place and adult supervision to continue their work. And then to provide supplemental resources such as MemBeam, Common Lit, iReady, of course, and Desmos. Lastly, my last slide is about our third goal, which is our school climate goal. And I put on here our mission because
we keep saying it over and over again, but through all its programs, IBL provides a safe, nurturing, and positive atmosphere for children to become young adults. This is a tricky thing to do in a middle school, but we're working really hard to do that. And so this last goal of improving school climate and encouraging parent involvement is super important to us. We kind of switched our metrics on this one as well. So we have created an IBL, a school climate survey, and that's based around our school climate culture, BARK, Bulldogs Belong, our response, our accountable, respect all, and our kind. And so we're going to be taking that in the beginning and the end. We're also going to be using the panorama survey as well. But we also want to quantify things like, okay, let's set a goal of having more community events and more family opportunities for families to participate. So we're going to have committees for school climate and absenteeism. Obviously, we have a school counselor, a leadership class, and peer helpers. We have Stacy Russell that's going to help us with the county building up our peer helper program. We have our advisory, mindfulness, character educations related to BARK. We're going to have presentations, lots of them, this coming year on preventing bullying, harassment, responsible use of social media, preventing racial slurs. And of course, we always have our really powerful challenge day. We'd like to provide after-school activities other than Boys and Girls Club to get kids to have that sense of belonging. Again, continue with our school activities, assemblies, rallies, spirit days, mix it up day, ability awareness. We had a really fun creative arts and writing competition that we want to do again. It kind of pulled some kids together, and they came and celebrated their writing and their art. Increase PTO sponsored community events, and then implement restorative practices to address discipline and issues with and reduce the suspension. Through all of that, hopefully we get more sense of belonging, and we have less of a absenteeism. So, okay, that's it.
Thank you, Catherine. Next up we have is Ocean Shore and Jean.
Okay, I just unmuted. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Excellent. Hello, everybody. I'm talking to you from Carmel Valley. I've been really impressed with this leadership conference so far. One of the things that we've been talking about is restorative practices, and we're getting kind of a, I don't know, not a deep dive, but a shallow, shallow dive. That doesn't sound very good. Anyway, we're talking about that today, and we're talking about tomorrow too. So I'm very excited about that. So in any event, some of the data that we considered were our spring reading diagnostics. 62% of our students are at grade level or above. This is up from 58% in May of last year. Our math diagnostic results show that 59% of our students are at grade level or above. And again, this is up as well from last year. Our CASP scores had us at 55.2 meeting standard or above in ELA and 46.3 meeting standards or above in math. That math score is low for us historically. I'm going to be interested to see what our math scores look like this year. Our suspension rate is in the orange range. We would like to get that into yellow or green. According to the Panorama survey, 6th or 8th grade students have a negative perception of school climate in general and a low sense of belonging, as well as a negative perception of their ability to regulate emotions and empathize with others. That's not that unusual for middle schoolers, but obviously it's something that we want to improve. 3rd to 5th grade students have a more positive perception of school climate, belonging, and their ability to empathize with others, but they also have a negative perception of their ability to regulate their emotions. Like the rest of the schools, we are having problems with students that are chronically absent, 18.1, and that's up from 15.7, which is also not so great. I was hoping to see it go down, but it went up, so that's somewhere where we have a lot of work to do. So one of the things we're going to continue to do is to provide small group support for reading led by a paraprofessional for students identified as EL learners and socioeconomically disadvantaged students in grades 1 through 3. This aligns with goal 1. We'll be using site funds to fund that. We're going to continue to provide math intervention with a credentialed teacher to work with students in small groups and assist with our 4-5 grade combination math class. The district used to pay for that hour of assistance with the split class. They're no longer paying for it, so we're having to pick that up through site funds. We'll also be doing after-school tutoring by a credentialed teacher for the 4th through 8th grade students that are struggling. This is going to be funded by our PTO. We'll continue with all of the things that make Ocean Shore, Diversity Day, Ability Awareness Day, Earth Week, other programs that teach acceptance and understanding, overall health, well-being, and mindful living. That'll be PTO funded. We'll continue to implement our SEL curriculum, our social emotional learning curriculum, continue to and deepen restorative practices, continue with school activities that focus on developing empathy and celebrating difference, and have continued opportunities for older students to take leadership roles. We reactivated our peer mediators this year, and it was very successful. That was done by our full-time counselor, Jen Sohn. We'll continue with student council, buddy, and our pod activities, which are like school families. And then we'll continue to work with our PTO counselor and student council to have a school-wide campaign to promote attendance, continue conferences with families of students who are chronically absent and are true entirety, and then hopefully work with the district office to meet with families that aren't responding to other interventions. That's it.
Thank you, Jean.
Short and sweet.
All right, next up we have Rachel from Ortega.
Hi, from Ortega and Carmel Valley. This last few days have been very inspiring, and we have some teenagers that have joined us, and their perspective is always a great reminder of why we do our work. So Ortega's data, we had 99% of our students take the third iReady assessment, which is huge. You can see we have our spring data for ELA and math. We went slightly down in both areas. 57% of our students are at or above grade level in language arts, and 56 of our students are above grade level in math. We had 68 students work with the RTI teacher and the aide this school year, which is really exciting. We will continue with our RTI teacher next year. So really excited to see that program expand. Our suspension rate is in the blue, which is great. And we had 12.5% of our students that were chronically absent for this school year. 17% of our students that are socially economically disadvantaged were chronically absent. So definitely percentages that we want to see decrease. We are hoping to continue to use a push-in model for RSP support for our students with disabilities, keeping them in the main classroom and having paraprofessionals or the teacher join those classrooms to help our students. We'll continue with the part-time RTI teacher. It'll be 2 days a week, all day next year with Karen Stevenson, so that's exciting. She will work with students that are below grade level in reading, phonics, and or math for about 6 to 8 week cycles, using the data from iReady, using conversations with teachers. It went really well because she is a staff member already at Ortega, so joining those grade level collaborations to talk about students and what supports they need was really helpful. We're excited to continue a lot of different events at Ortega. So the Global Village celebration was led by the PTO. That was huge, a real sense of belonging and community, lots of great food, lots of great information on the different cultures that we have on campus. Having teachers lead different adjuncts for inclusive schools and Ability Awareness Week that really teach acceptance and understanding. So those are some highlights, some great events we have. We'll continue to monitor chronically absent and tardy students, having the teacher and the staff reach out to families first to kind of reconnect them to the school, highlighting things that their child missed. and seeing if we can really bridge that gap. Having our RTI teacher and our part-time counselor, myself included, reaching out and just offering supports. And really rewarding students with perfect weekly attendance. So this week it went really well. We gave a shout out to those 10 kids that we pulled randomly, made announcements on the loudspeaker. They got a popsicle or a popcorn pass, and it was really exciting. And then next year, I'm hoping to have some weekly community morning meetings to engage families and highlight the different school activities that are going on. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Rachel. And then we turn it over to the team from Sunset Ridge.
Hi, I'm Ellie Kendrick,
I'm Tony Colton.
and we had 99% of our students first through fifth grade participate in the assessments, and we use the individualized lessons for first through fifth grade, including students with special education.
And we've had a lot of success. 49% of our students are at or exceeding grade level expectations, which is up from 26% in August 2023. That's a 23% increase.
And in math, we saw 39% of our students at or exceeding grade level expectations in math, up from 12% in August.
As of June, chronic absenteeism is something we are constantly tackling. Our rate is at 22.3%. But that is a decrease of 11.6% from last year. So we're very pleased with that.
All right, 4% of our students are identified as homeless.
46.2% of our students are identified as socioeconomically disadvantaged, which is up 8.2% from last year.
And the percentage of our students that are identified as multilingual learners has remained the same at 16%.
The highlights, we met our goal. Our goal was to increase our ELA scores by 20%, and that's exactly what we did, exactly 20%.
We met our math goal by 26%. We had a goal of increasing it by 20%, and we increased it by 26%.
And like I said, chronically absent numbers is still a concern, but we were looking at the data today, and in 2 years, we've almost halved the amount of students who are chronically absent. It's gone down from in 21-22 year, it was 165 students were chronically absent. Last year it was 136. And this year it's gone down to just 86 students. So it's going down a lot. So we're very pleased with that.
We use our screen team meetings to monitor academic, social, emotional, and attendance needs of our students.
We have counselors who have social skills groups, and they do individual counseling as well. They've also been visiting classes and doing presentations to classes. Often it's related to events that happen in the class. So they make good judgments on what they're teaching the kids in class.
Yeah, and earlier in the year, we did some empathy interviews, and they based some of that their class sessions on those empathy interviews that they did with the 4th and 5th grade. We conducted home visits for students identified as chronically absent. And we visited the students' homes before school that were on the list last year as severe or what's the other one? Average, severe and moderate. Thanks. And we visited them before school started, just to remind them about school and when we're starting.
We have a really good ILT, instructional leadership team, and we meet monthly to look at SIPSA goals and look at data as well, and plan on how to approach making progress on those goals.
And we provided our after-school tutoring, and we also had our makerspace open before school for kids to motivate them to get to come to school.
And this year as well, we've had 2 ex-Sunset Ridge credentialed teachers who are teaching advanced math and also intervention math to our 5th graders. So that's been a real help.
And then for our highlights for next year, we're looking forward to continuing to improve our reading, our math, and decreasing our chronically absent students.
We want kids to be excited to come to school, so we do lots of extra things like Family Day, Book of the Month, Student Council, Student Ambassadors, and Family Reading Night, which was hugely successful. And also what was massively successful was our Math Night earlier in the year, which was totally run by the students, and that was just a huge success.
We have a part-time intervention teacher who's done a great job working with first, second, and third grade students this year. But we're looking forward to her next year, continuing.
We're using site funds. We have a world language program at our school. And while the students are learning Spanish with the Spanish teacher, the teachers are using that time to collaborate and work together and plan.
And we're planning to continue doing home visits. And for students that are identified as chronically absent and for specific subgroups that are having trouble getting to school.
And of course, we want to encourage not just student engagement, but family engagement by having educational events to invite families into. We're also, the staff have volunteered to do a monthly bedtime story night where we go into Zoom and we read stories to the kids. And they get their hot chocolate and we wear our PJs. And yeah.
The last thing is that we're just excited to see our library expanded over the summer and that we will have our cafeteria and our kitchen completed. I'm used to that, so we're excited.
Thank you, Ellie and Tony. And now we have Laura Vukovic for. Oh my.
Hi, everybody. Laura Vukovic, the principal at Valleymar. I wanted to thank my colleagues for presenting their goals and their highlights. They're inspiring. So some of the data that we considered was our iReady diagnostics from the fall to the spring. And we created 3 new SIPSA goals based on that data. So our first goal is to increase the number of students who are meeting standard as compared by their fall to their spring data in iReady by 25%. And the reason why we wrote that as an ILT is because right now in the spring, 66% of all students were meeting grade level, and that was an increase of 19% from the fall. 36% of students in special education were meeting grade level, and that was a 28% from the fall to the spring. And lastly, 35% of language learners were meeting grade level in the spring, which was a 28% jump. So moving on to our second goal, which was focused around math. We want to see next year an increase of the number of students who are meeting standard, again, in comparison to their fall to their spring data, but by 35%. And this was based on this year's spring data, which 68% of all students were meeting grade level or above it. And that was a growth of 33%. So we want a little bit higher. 44% of students in special education were meeting grade level or above, and that was a growth of 39%. And 39% of students who are language learners were meeting standard in the spring. And that was a jump of 32% from the fall to the spring. Our third goal we were considering this year had to do with absenteeism and school climate. And some of our goal focuses on increasing the sense of community and belonging and student engagement, which I'm sure will have a decrease on the chronic absentee numbers. So 14% of students were chronically absent in 2023. 23% of students with disabilities were listed as chronically absent, and 33% of students who were socioeconomically disadvantaged were reported as chronically absent. So those were our groups that we wanted to really focus on. Some of the highlights that I wanted to go over were that our students made a lot of desired gains on this iReady diagnostic this year. So our focus next year will be, not only to make those same desired gains, but also to focus to work on closing that achievement gap found between historically marginalized groups of students and their non-marginalized peers. And we plan to do that by this list of highlighted activities listed here. And I'm going to just go over them in no order, but they're all up there. Primarily, most importantly, we're going to do this by, as grade levels and teachers, identifying groups of students that, need to be worked with and need that extra attention. We're going to use evidence-based interventions in the classroom. We're going to analyze data as a site and just collaborate as a site on what's working and what isn't. We want to focus on best teaching practices inside the classroom. And some of these include utilizing our response to intervention teacher to support struggling readers in the lower grades. We're going to continue in year 2 with our new phonics program. Last year, our kindergarten and first grade teachers were trained on Orton Gillingham practices, and they're going to continue those in the classroom next year. In addition to that, our 4th and 5th grade teachers will receive Orton Gillingham training this summer. We're going to offer our middle schoolers some support through our after-school homework club. And we're also going to have a paraprofessional support small groups of students in grades 4 through 8. One thing that we understand at Valley Mar is the importance of creating that culturally responsive community where all students feel supported, safe, welcome, and valued. We know that when they feel, part of this type of community, they will be engaged and their, the sense of belonging will increase and they will want to come to school. So we're going to do this by checking in with families, right? With SSTs, with phone calls, with wellness checks, especially with those chronically absent students. We are going to continue to offer calming spaces for our students in every classroom so students have a place that they can reset. We're going to offer many activities for students to participate in at lunch and at recess to give them something to do and do something fun. We're going to continue to implement our SCL curriculum as a school site. We're going to utilize our school counselor for social skills group, individual counseling, and just implementing positive school-wide initiatives. We're going to continue our book of the month programs, which focus on highlighted character traits. And lastly, we're just going to continue to work on offering fun school-wide activities like spirit days, assemblies that focus on creating that positive school climate. Thank you.
Thank you, Laura. And so this would be the opportunity for you to ask any questions, but I do want to start off. I do want to also kind of put this all together. There's a lot of work that has been put into this SIPSIS by not only the principals, obviously, but also the school site councils, the ILT teams, and the staff there. I have to acknowledge all of the principals for really putting a concentrated effort. I think of the 8 years I've been here, I've never seen so much looking at data and making decisions off data. So I just want to call them out and appreciate their hard work in that area. It's been pretty inspiring for me. Anyway, if you have any questions, and I know the principals online are available. Yes.
I do actually have some questions. Well, have a question, or maybe some research can be done. First, I want to acknowledge Sunset Ridge for doing such a great job. My daughter went there, and I want to say that because I'm actually going to talk about why is it out of the 6 schools, 5 of the schools have less than 25% unduplicated students, whereas Sunset Ridge has nearly 50%. That statistically is off to me, that so many unduplicated students are being sent to one school. And I feel like it's unfair that one school is taking on so much work when the other schools are not. So I would like to know how that happened. And I don't know if you have that answer tonight, but something is off to me that one school has nearly 50% unduplicated students, and then the other schools only have under 25%.
I think, I remember Jim Leanna's when he was chief business officer, right? Or he did a little study and said that, most of Sunset Ridge kids live in the neighborhood, right? And we have more low income housing up there.
Okay.
So I think it's
It's just
choosing to come.
because it just seems it's just a little off to me. But to me, just the numbers, like that's twice as much for one school, and the school has the least amount of students. So it's, to me, it seems off when there's a lot of this, everyone gets to, pick their school, and I acknowledge that a lot of kids are walking to school. Like I said, my daughter went there, and I'm very impressed at the work that you all have done. But also, as somebody who's looking at numbers, I would like a little study or investigation into why this is happening, because it does seem a little extreme. There's more than twice as many students. And it can't just be, because some kids come from all over. It can't just be that all the students live in a neighborhood.
Yeah, I know that there was a study for the Safe Routes to School. And they were investigating for the safety reasons. They made that crosswalk and stuff like that, but they did a little bit of like how many people walk to school, how many people travel. And the largest percentage of students that actually walk to school or are close in the school was Sunset Ridge. There's those apartment complexes, and a lot of the students from those apartment complexes were walking to school. I'm not saying that they are necessarily that population of unduplicated, but it seems like a large portion of more of a percentage of them come from there. But you are right. I mean, I've noticed when I'm looking at attendance data, I'm looking at some students that are going cross town to Sunset Ridge.
Right.
So there is a smaller percentage of that, but it is a school, at least based off the 2 years or 3 years ago, when they had that survey that they had the most walking or rolling to school.
Yeah. But it's still 50 compared to less than 25%. Something is going on. Just the numbers don't, they stand out, like 50% of the students compared to less than 25% for every other school, and it's the lowest population school. So again, I would really like some kind of investigation into what is going on where just this school has so many unduplicated students. How are we placing them there? I just like to know what's going on that makes this school have to take on so much more work than other schools.
It's a good question.
Thank you, Kai. I'll just piggyback off of Kai. I know that there's a larger Latino population up there as well, and when I was working at the resource center, I would hear back from community members there who would say they don't feel like we're paying attention to them, the Latino community. And so I'm just wondering if, they find some kind of comfort, because there's the specialized meetings that they have. But if there was something we could do to make it a little bit more equitable throughout the district.
Yeah, because like I said, love Sunset Ridge. My daughter went there. It's my favorite school. I'm sorry, it is, but it is my favorite school. So I love Sunset Ridge, but now I'm looking at the numbers and I'm saying, okay, this is not, it's not equitable. It's not fair to the staff at Sunset Ridge. And also, are the students choosing the school? Like, is that what's happening because you're more welcoming? So they're like, we are heard here. Is that it? Or are the students being placed there? Is it happening in the office? Something is happening for these numbers to be so disproportionate. It's not to me, because there's, Ocean Shore is down the street from Sunset Ridge. What is it, half a mile? So why are the students not being placed there? Like, I have some questions, like what's going on? I would like to know why is the numbers so disproportionate at this school? Because what I'm looking at is every other school, it's less than 25%. Sunset Ridge is it's like 49.9%. That's a big difference. It's twice as much. So something is happening and I would like to know what it is. I don't know what it is, but I would like to know, because maybe if we have the information of what's causing this, we can start spreading it out or figuring out what will help, or putting in programs that are attracting students to other schools, whatever it is, I'd like to know.
I know we're a district of choice, so I don't know if John could even talk more about that.
I think we could do that study that you're talking
Yeah.
about. I don't want to speculate without actually looking at data and numbers and getting that back to you.
Yeah, we can look at like zip, zip codes.
It is right. I mean, we're built as a district of choice, so there's wait lists and
Yeah.
First
it
place, I
should
think,
be-
so, but it would be interesting to kind
You know,
of see if we could
if-
tease that data out.
Yeah, because if people are choosing it, why are they choosing it? Is it because they feel more comfortable here? Then that means they're not feeling comfortable somewhere else. We need to figure out what's going on. So whatever it is, whatever's causing this, we need to figure out what the cause of this disproportionate number is. Because that's the only way that we can bring equity to all the schools. And again, it's just too big of a number to me. You know, that's more than twice the number of students at every other school. And again, this school's population is the smallest population of students.
Hi, maybe we could bring it up in our meetings with
Saturday.
Nicole
Yeah.
Anderson too, because she's an expert in
Yeah.
that field, but we can make a note.
Yeah, I think I noticed it for years, but I don't think I saw the numbers until today and really put it together like, wait, time out. Why are there twice as many at the smallest school? So,
Linda, we don't want to forget about you. Do you have any questions?
I didn't, but I kind of wanted to reiterate what Will said, that I think these are the best presentations I've seen since I've been watching these presentations. So thank you for all the hard work of all the principals. So that was my comment.
I just had some questions. I was really surprised by the amount of homeless children that we have in the district. It wasn't just one school, but you know, a few schools. And I'm just wondering, how do we give them support when they're not in school?
So I know that when a family comes in and they are identified as homeless or they're McKinney-Ventos, I mean, John, you might want to talk to this, or do you want me to?
Go ahead.
Yeah, I know that they automatically, there's certain things that have to require right away to, of supports that have to be in place, not only at school, but for the family outside of school. You know, the most obvious things is, do they have what they need to support their students at home? You know, not only academically, transportation, yeah.
Establishing transportation, making sure that there's the school supplies, connecting with the home to see. I mean, those are things we do from the district office, and then at the school sites, I know there's more intensive, you know, outreach that schools do for the families that need it. But yes, we are very cognizant of that population, and yeah, and noticing the numbers as well.
Yeah, I was just concerned about that. And then I have had questions from some parents about unduplicated funding versus, you know, general funding. And so I was just wondering if there's any parents watching, if you could answer that question. Like, if I have an unduplicated child versus Elizabeth having just, you know, regular or whatever, but I don't want to say regular. Duplicated child. What is the difference in their education and with the funding that they receive?
There's more, there's funding that's called supplemental funding. It's through the local control funding formula that the site receives based off unduplicated. And again, unduplicated students are students that are socioeconomically disadvantaged, English language learners, homeless, foster youth. So those are the four groups that are there. They refer to them as unduplicated because you can't be English learner and socioeconomically disadvantaged, even though there are students that are both, you know, that have both. But so it's an unduplicated count of students. That's how they calculate it. So you can't double dip if you've got both things. And so you get a certain amount of funding per of those students. It's really the only thing is like the grants and the supplemental funds that are connected and are to support unduplicated students. They might be providing services that are more focused on the unduplicated students, but they're being provided the high quality educational experiences any student is. There are some fundings and some programs that are specifically for supporting unduplicated students, those populations.
Right. Then what else? The home visits. I I love this idea. I think I've shared it before that some of my relatives in Nebraska, when they move to a different school district outside of Omaha, they get home visits from the teachers. And the teachers get to see, meet the families, see what their supports are at home. And so I really commend you for taking the extra step, to get out there and do that. And I wish that we could do it on the regular basis because our attendance, across all of our schools is not ideal right now. And so anything that could help the kids feel and the families feel like, we're there to help them, we want to help them in any way and, meeting them at home. So thank you. I don't know whose idea that was, but it was a good one. But that's it for my questions. Does anybody else have questions?
Just want to say thank you to all of the principals and our assistant vice principals for providing a clear explanation and presentation that was rooted in data. And then also facilitating the questions as well and the analysis. Thank you so much.
All right, that was a long one. Let's see, we are moving on to 11C. Will, staying up there for the LCAP local indicators.
Yeah, I'm back up here again. If you can just give me a second, I'm gonna get my presentation up here for this. Okay, here we go. There we go. All right, okay. So this is the presentations on the local control accountability plans local indicator report. The state monitors school districts' progress through California dashboard that is also accessible to the public at large. State data is not available for some priority areas identified in the local control accountability formula statute. For these priority areas, the State Board of Education approved the local indicators, which are based on information that a district collects locally. So these are the indicators there. They're the ones on the right side. So we have the state indicators, and those are the ones that are the basis of our LCAPs and our metrics and our, things that we have to touch upon within our LCAP. But there's also local indicators that don't have metrics that are across districts that are, it's the responsibility of the district to come up with metrics and actions that support these indicators. And so those indicators are basic conditions. So it's the basic conditions, the physical conditions of the site. And we use the school accountability report card to report that out. The panorama survey it helps with the measurement of priorities 2, 3, and 6, which is the implementation of academic standards, the parent engagement and school climate. And then we self-assess ourselves on the access to a broad course of study. So I will start with priority 1, and this is the most updated information we have in measuring are we achieving these basic services? And this is up there, as you can see, it talks about the appropriately assigned teachers, the access to curriculum-aligned instructional materials, and a safe, clean, and functional physical school facilities. So the teacher assignments, our total number of FTEs is 133.6. As you can see there, the fully credentialed and properly assigned is 126. And then we had one intern, one FTE intern, 7.8 teachers without credentials or misassignments, and then 2.3 teachers, credentialed teachers assigned out of field. I know that doesn't look good when you see the 7.8 and 2.3, but that's actually an improvement from our previous things. We are hiring more people that are highly qualified than we've done in the past. And then access to instructional materials, we have 0. I mean, all of our students have what they need, especially when it's connected to our district adopted materials. And then our facility conditions, we have right now 4 at good and 3 at fair. And that is based off August of 2023. That was the last time the fit report was done. And those 3 fair just generally is around this idea that we're in the middle of a lot of bond work. So when the inspection was done, the bond work's happening. So they didn't hit the good side because they were in the middle of bond work. They respond to the fair. The second priority is implementing academic standards. In our last survey that we did, which was in December of 23, this past December, 100 Pacifica School District teachers completed this reflection survey. And this is just a summary of the responses. English language arts and math were as far as implementing academic standards, meaning having curriculum that is connected directly to standards, having instruction that directly connected to the California academic standards. In our ELA and our math, we're at full implementation phase that we're fully implementing. Science, we're still at the initial implementation stage. And this was, again, when it was surveyed in December, we're just starting that K-5 building blocks of science program. So we're still at that from the perception of the teachers, we're still at that initial. And then our history are at the exploration or beginning development stage. And as you know, we have an outdated K-5 social studies program that needs to, we need to probably pretty soon go through an adoption process for that. Priority 3 is around parent and family engagement, and it's determining the progress of parent and family engagement. And so when we look at parents' perception of barriers for parents' engagement with schools, we went from, in the spring of 2023, we're at 81% favorable responses to questions around that. We had the exact same percentage in the winter of 23-24. And in our perception of the degree of family engagement with schools, and that one, again, we were at a 34% favorable response, which is low. It did gain to 39% in the winter of 23-24. And in school climate, and what we used is the student climate survey, again, through Panorama. And these talk both about the connectedness that students feel, of their perception of how they feel connected to their school, and then also school safety, what their thoughts were on school safety. And as you can see, there's a difference between in the connected to the school, and I think Jean brought it up in part of her SIP says, is this idea of this connectedness between the 3rd through 5th grade and the 6th through 8th. We're at the 61%. You can see it across time, spring to this past winter. And there was some gains from 61 to 64%. And then for the 6th through 8th, it was 39, and it's basically been at 39% there. School safety, again, not too much change between spring of 2022 and winter of 23-24. There was a bit of a drop in the 6th through 8th from 65% to 61% in the winter of 23-24. Access to a broad course of study. So we did a self-reflection survey, and we did this a number of years ago, and then we did it again randomly this past spring before this year. And these are just some of the things that bubbled up as far as barriers within school for all students having access to all content areas through enrollment. The barriers within school is the alternate methods of demonstrating skill and competency. So some staff members and some students reported that they learned better in different ways, but the barrier was they didn't have those different ways to do that. So that kind of bubbled up. Tools to scaffold learning. So that's the other thing is, and I think there's been a lot more work in that area since we've gone through this iReady deep data dive, and we've put students into small groups, and then we've had pull out intervention support. It's been helping with that idea of scaffolding the learning. And then inconsistent time allocated for certain subjects. So again, we know that that's a big problem with around science is because especially in our lower grades, science is not being taught as consistently as it probably should be. But when we're looking at the main core areas or the two big ones, math and reading, they demand a lot of time, and sometimes that time gets doesn't get the time that they need to do that. Barriers outside of school is a lack of access to after-school curricular support, which I think we did a better job this year. Again, this survey was done in the last year. And then inconsistency, the access to science experiments. That was something that came out in a lot of the surveys that they were doing that. And actually that came out in our engagement this year around the LCAP. And then lack of parent education. And again, that was something else that came out in our engagement with the community for the LCAP purposes, that they were asking for more parent education nights. So that was really quick, a lot of information, but this is a report that not only is submitted as part of the LCAP through the California dashboard. So all of this information and all the data that's behind it got submitted onto the dashboard. Next year, when the 24 dashboard comes out, you can actually go to the local indicators and you'll see a narrative version of this presentation within there. And it is required that a report be made to the board and to the public on the same meeting as the LCAP is being approved. So that's why you're hearing it now and not hearing it earlier in the year.
Does anybody have questions? I don't have any questions.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. You all stop sharing here.
All right, and now we are moving on to 11D, facilities, maintenance and operations update. George?
Good evening, and thank you for allowing me to come up and speak to the board and update you on the 23-24 facilities maintenance and operations portion of the district. I would like to begin by a shout out to the FMO department, maintenance department, the custodians, the groundskeepers, and the night custodians and our summer cleaning crew. We were tasked to move rooms out of LMEC to their different sites. And on June 7th, they all pulled together and we were able to do it in one day, the entire wing to their sites. Not necessarily in the classrooms because we're still cleaning the classrooms, but eventually in there. We're right about 3/4 of the way done at Sunset Ridge with the cleaning, and we are doing floor cleanings and scrubbing and extraction of carpets. Thank you to the FMO department. And our groundskeepers. We have 2 new groundskeepers who are doing an excellent job in what they have to do with 2 groundskeepers and about 103 acres of property to deal with and 8 sites. So moving on to facilities maintenance and operations. So introduction to staff and responsibilities. As the FMO department, we support the sites and repairs across the district, from everything from buildings to right down to grounds. We support 8 sites and approximately 103 acres of property. We've recently changed our, well, we do have the Facilitron Works, which is a rental facility program where people can go in, view our sites and rent facilities from us. We've recently changed to what's called Facilitron Works, which is a work order program, which is connected directly to the facility's use. Work orders are produced and they reflect the needs of the sites through the Facilitron Works and management, the workflow in real time. Facilitron is also working into doing fit reports, which will directly input the fit reports deficiencies right into the work order system. So those will be automatically produced, whether they're for a grounds, maintenance, or a school site. We review the work order reports weekly, and we always add additional training for those who are having difficulties working through the system. But mostly it is user-friendly. So facility maintenance and operations categories, routine maintenance, fire, life and safety comes first and above all. Preventive maintenance, replacing equipment, supplies, and on a timed intervals. Those are things that we work on. We have some very old equipment. New equipment of the same stature is much more expensive. We're talking what was $25,000 before COVID could be somewhere in the neighborhood of almost $100,000 today. Sourcing is still very hard due to COVID and getting supplies. We try our best to work different resources all the time. Deferred maintenance, initially set up by the state to fund the plan for 5 years maintenance plan. State funds were 120,000, districts matched 120, a total of $240,000. Well, the state no longer supports that. It has to be done through this district budget. Facility master plans. We continually work with the facility master plan and our construction manager to make sure that we have improved learning spaces and better education. Next slide, annual maintenance and grounds costs. Cost for employees is about $1.1 million out of the funding. Service and repairs for pest control, HVAC, windows, fencing, kitchen and equipment. The number you see up there is incorrect. I caught that. It's more like $130,000 of what we've spent. Contracted services, electrical, trees, fire, safety, plumbing, concrete, asphalt equals about $142,000. Next slide, please. Example of routine maintenance, HVAC, MERV, 13 filters, qualities of which are the filters we use in our HVAC systems. So they're the highest quality filters that we can use in our older systems without causing them distress. We spent $9,480 this year in filtration. Science labs, annual safety, health and safety inspections. So chemical inventories, we spent $16,354. Kitchen equipment, that is not part of my department, but averages between $10,000 to $20,000, depending on the size of the equipment and how much they have to purchase. Projects completed this year. So HVAC systems, repairs and replacement. We spent $32,537 out of funds 1 and 14, general and deferred maintenance. Tree maintenance, we spent $19,185,000 out of the general funds. Grounds contracts, we spent $37,730 out of funds 1, general, 14, deferred maintenance. Fencing and repairs, $50,000, improving the fencing just through the district FMO, not all the beautiful fencing that you see out there that's being done through bond. So it's anything that's old and dilapidated and needs repair or gets damaged. That was funding 21. District-wide plumbing, we've had issues. $46,241 in 2023-24. We've had some broken pipes, sewer issues at Cabrillo, Sunset Ridge, IBL, which we're taking care of. And then, of course, district-wide pest abatement. We're working diligently to catch up with this. We have one company that does our burrowing rodents and in our fields. We have another that does our general pest control, which is rodents and insects inside the classrooms and in the schools. We're not very happy with the company we're using right now, so we're definitely looking at moving forward with a company that can handle our sites and our facilities on a monthly basis as opposed to when they're called. And then, of course, the IBL backstop, or the baseball complex, as I like to call it, the replacement of the backstop at IBL was completely redone this year. And if anybody's gone by and seen it, it's beautiful compared to what was there before. And next up, any cards? So current projects in progress, still working, or finished working on some fencing projects at, IBL, or I'm sorry, Sunset Ridge was 14,258, and that was completed in spring of this year. So the summary. The district exceeds the 3% state requirement for routine maintenance with current staff maintenance and grounds. District lacks sufficient funds for deferred maintenance, Fund 14. The cost should approximately appropriately tracked in Fund 14 for accurate record keeping. That's bookwork. Considerations, plan for deferred maintenance, funding increases for the deferred maintenance. How to develop a deferred maintenance fund requires a dedicated strategy and proper planning. Conduct an update of facility conditions assessments and audits. Prioritize based on assets, equipment, and age of and life cycle. Acquire funds, funding sources, and resources. The Facilitron rental program helps us to do that because the funds that come from that come back to the district and are used in the FMO department to fix not one, but all the schools where they need it. Create a multi-year plan based on funding and resources. Coordinate with the facilities master plan, update plan annually. And next slide, please. These are our guys. These are the guys that are out there that are hardly ever seen, guys who get it done in the time that it needs to get done and as quickly as possible. And that's it for my presentation. Are there any questions?
I have some questions. Only because somebody reached out for me from city council about the leak at Cabrillo. And I was just wondering if that was handled, and the concern was that, I can't remember the official name, but where the sidewalk ends and then before the street, there's like a little area there.
Swell.
Yeah.
It's called the bioswale.
She was concerned because the city had put money into that and making it look nice if it's back to where it was before the leak.
So the bioswale is doing exactly what it's supposed to do. And what it does is it filters any water, rain-off water from the flat work or all the concrete asphalt areas. It filters it through the plants that are in there. Bioswale plants aren't always attractive, but they do what they're supposed to do. Bioswales are not normally walked upon or worked in because of the soils. It needs to be very soft and buffy so the water can get in, leach through the plants, and then leach back into the ground system. That's how a bioswale works. So it is back to where it was. It definitely helped with what happened at Cabrillo. We've had a couple of leaks at Cabrillo. One was in the main line in the sidewalk, which was originally repaired. And then the second one, after all those huge rains, there was water coming down the street for days and days and days. Much like what happens across the street here, the water that runs in the middle of summer all year long. So I called the North Coast County Water District to come out and help us out. They help us out quite a bit with most of the issues we have regarding water. They came out and they did a test on the water. They checked for chlorine. And with the amount of water that was coming out of the hillside, we figured, hey, if it's a broken pipe, we're going to see it. They didn't detect any chlorine. So they felt that it might have been a natural spring that might have been in the area that is percolating up through the ground, and this water's coming out. They said, why don't we wait? Let's see what happens more towards summer. Then we had more rains. So we ended up with more water on top of the water that was still coming out. Eventually we got down to the point where it dried up a little bit. It was dry out, and then come back later and it's big again as it was before. So we decided to call in a company to do a test to find the water leak. Unbeknownst to us, there was a valve up by the SDC classrooms, which looks like an electrical box. It doesn't look like your normal water box. It's a giant vault that it turned out to be a valve, which feeds from the main line to the second main line that comes up that hillside and feeds into the school. So fortunately, it was a copper line. They were able to connect to it and track it down the side of the building. Once we found that, then they came back with they're like sonogram or sonars. It's a metal device that they put over the pipe, and they can hear the hissing of the water coming from the pipe. At that point is when we found that we actually had a leak in the hillside, and we moved forward as quickly as possible to get the repair done.
Sounds complicated.
It seems complicated, but when you're on the tractor and ripping up dirt, it goes pretty quick. Are
Thank
there
you
any other questions?
for your explanation. My only other concern is the summertime, and right now our fields, are being upkept, and whenever we return back from summer, there's always a little talk about, well, how come we didn't mow the lawns, during summertime? So I'm just wondering if there's a plan to keep up on our fields, the grounds during the summertime.
Yes, like I said, the new two groundskeepers we have, they are go-getters. They are able to get they were able to get through the IBL field, the track, around the track, the field, not the track itself, but all the grounds around that, and into the campus, through the parking lots in the 2-day time that they had to do it. That is impressive. And so they are working diligently and hard to get through these sites in the times they have. 2 days with that much real estate is pretty impressive. We have one gentleman who has extensive knowledge in groundskeeping. The other did groundskeeping when he was in high school, but it's like riding a bicycle. He's got back on that bicycle, and they work great as a team. They communicate and they get the job done. We are mowing the fields. We are now looking at starting some irrigation work, which is obviously needed at this district. It's been lack of attention for quite a few years, and so it's going to be very expensive to repair. I'm not going to lie. But we have some couple issues to take care at IBL, and we will be turning the irrigation back on here hopefully in the next few weeks because of summer, replacing some heads that leak during irrigation, and that should be up and running. The next field would be Ocean Shore, where we have some valve work that needs to be done, and then that field will be back up and going. Cabrillo School irrigation is back on. Pacifica Boys and Girls Club, or Pacifica Girls Softball League. They groom that field for us, and we keep the irrigation going for them. And then there's Cabrillo, which has, if there's any school that has a lot of irrigation drip system, that is the school. I could show you the drawing and you'd go, wow. And then, of course, Ortega, not so much water anymore.
No.
It's a beautiful facility. And I've always said, if we build it, they will come. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so we are moving on to 11E. Will, reading board policy and regulation 5121.
Yeah, this is a policy that just kind of came to our attention and had definitely a need for updating. This policy is being updated for current practices. That doesn't mean that practices may change in the future, but as far as current practices, this pertains to our current grading scale. If you looked at the red line, there's a lot of language in there that references high school. That was eliminated, taken out of there. And then also it had a big glaring thing was it had 4th and 5th graders getting lettered grades, and our current practice doesn't reflect our 4th and 5th graders getting lettered grades. So the appropriate language was adjusted so that to be consistent with our current practice with regard to our report card. Oh, and sorry, this is a first read,
Yeah.
so.
Does anybody have any questions? Thank you. All right, we're moving on to F. First reading board policies 3516, 3550, 3551, and 3553. Josie.
Thank you. So as you know, CSBA regularly reviews the board policies and we get the quarterly updates from CSBA. So tonight we're presenting the 3000 series, and there's a summary sheet here for your review. Very briefly, the Emergency and Disaster Preparedness Plan. It's updated based on the new law, Senate Bill 323, which was in 2023, which includes adaptations for students with disabilities, and also Assembly Bill 1023, which increased cybersecurity support, including automatic dialing services as a form of communication during an emergency, and expands the list of critical information in an emergency. The next few policies are for child nutrition program, and all of these updates are based on new laws. Senate Bill 348, where districts are required to make available one nutritionally available breakfast and lunch every day for students, and also give students adequate time to eat. In addition, AB 95, it clarifies that after the district provides the free meal, they are allowed to additionally sell meals to students. And then Senate Bill 114 establishes a school food best practices, such as priority to using California grown and produced foods and preparing fresh meals on site. So all of these child nutrition policies were updated based on those current laws. Any questions? No questions. Thank you.
Linda, questions?
No questions. Thank you.
All right, so we are moving on to G, first reading board policies and administrative regulations, students, and the speaker's job.
Good evening, Board of Trustees. Thank you very much. This is a very straightforward change that we've done here. It's just our enrollment exhibit, which is 5116.1. It goes along with our board policy. We've just updated this so it's set at the beginning of the school year with principals' names changed. We've added the TK offering at Cabrillo. We've changed dates, so it's all calibrated and it is all current. And those were the changes. I realized that I believe what you have may be the already accepted changes, and I will make sure that in the weekly I put the red line version in there so you can clearly see what the red line changes were. But they were just around that, principals' names, dates for the lottery, dates for when the notifications go out post-lottery, so it's updated for the new school year. So happy to answer any questions. This is that first reading though.
Can we, yes, and
I
then.
just want to add
quickly that, okay, so
No questions. Linda?
No questions.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we're moving on to 12 action items. And we have resolutions of appreciation for parent volunteers and Pacifica Education Foundation.
Okay, I'll be reading the resolution for the Pacifica Education Foundation. Resolved by the Board of Trustees of Pacifica School District, County of San Mateo of California, that whereas the Pacifica Education Foundation has become a treasured, supportive, and invaluable volunteer base for Pacifica School District, always focused on meeting the needs of all of our students and teachers as they engage in the educational process of the 21st century. And whereas this all volunteer nonprofit organization of parents and community members have brought a wealth of experience, energy, and excitement to the benefit of the Pacifica School District by providing support to identify areas of need for instruction and other educational supports. And whereas the foundation has given liberally of their volunteer time and effort, always putting a good deal of their own personal expertise into every volunteer effort. And whereas each member of the foundation has worked tirelessly to provide additional funding to ensure all the children of Pacifica receive a quality education that the state of California underfunds, such as Spark Poetry, TK5 grade music, and 6th to 8th grade band. And whereas the foundation has worked to ensure strong collaboration with district staff so Pacifica School District may remain focused on providing educational experiences and programs that prepare our students for an evolving world. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Board of Trustees of Pacifica School District recognize the Pacifica Education Foundation for their many contributions to the students and families of the district. And further, be it resolved that the board hereby extends a heartfelt appreciation to the Pacifica Education Foundation on behalf of the community, staff, and most importantly, the students of the district, regularly passed and adopted this 12th day of June 2024.
All right, so are we going to have the teachers speak or just the one? Just the one.
That's it. Just the one, yeah. The principals, yeah.
Do we need to adopt it first before they can?
Do you read all of them?
The principals are gonna read them.
I thought it says that, or reads that the principals were going to read their schools. Resolution.
So, do you guys want to go? I was gonna read the principals who are not here.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
On the screen, please.
Oh, yeah, I got it. Sorry.
Hello. Let's see, Valimar School Parent Groups, resolved by the Board of Trustees of the Pacifica School District, County of San Mateo, State of California, that whereas the Valimar School PTO, Parent Council, SEPAC, ELAC, and Schools Site Council parent groups have been a treasured, supportive, and invaluable volunteer base for the Valimar School site, always recognizing that it is all about the children. And whereas the parent volunteers of Valimar School have brought a wealth of experience, energy, and excitement to the benefit of the Valimar School site by contributing their time and efforts to provide a warm, welcoming, and professionally rewarding atmosphere for the teachers and staff of the school. And whereas the parents have given liberally of their volunteer time and effort, always putting a good deal of their own personality into every volunteer effort. And whereas each member of these vital groups has worked tirelessly when asked to raise money to provide the extras needed for the school site, and oftentimes raising money to provide for the basic needs of the school. And whereas the parent groups of Valimar School have exhibited incredible and tireless effort in working together with the other parents at the site and the other parent groups district-wide. And whereas the Valimar School PTO and Parent Council and CPAC and ELAC and School Site Council have worked so very well together, recognizing their similarities and differences in their capacity as volunteers and parents. And now, therefore, be it resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Pacifica School District recognizes that the Valimar School PTO, the Parent Council, the CPAC, the ELAC, and the School Site Council groups for their many contributions to the students and families of the district. And further, be it resolved that the school board hereby extends its heartfelt appreciation to the Valimar School PTO, Parent Council, CPAC, ELAC, and School Site Council parent groups on behalf of the community, staff, and most importantly, the students of the district, regularly passed and adopted on this 12th day of June, 2024.
All right, resolved by the Board of Trustees of the Pacifica School District, County of San Mateo, State of California, that whereas the Sunset Ridge Elementary School PTO, the Diversity Inclusion Action Team, School Parent Council DLAC Committee, CPAC Room Parent Committee, the School Site Council and ELAC, and the Pacifica Education Foundation representatives have been a treasured, supportive, and invaluable volunteer base for the Sunset Ridge Elementary School site, always recognizing that it is all about the children and promoting a love of lifelong learning. And whereas the parent volunteers of Sunset Ridge Elementary School have brought a wealth of experience, energy, and excitement to the benefit of the school site by contributing their time and efforts to provide a warm, welcoming, and professionally rewarding atmosphere for teachers, staff, and students of the school during a challenging time, whereas the parents have given liberally of their volunteer time, effort, heart, soul, and always putting a good deal of their own personality into all volunteer effort. And whereas each member of these vital groups has worked tirelessly when asked to raise monies to provide the extras needed for the school for field trips, programs, and the little extras that make teachers feel loved. And whereas the parent group of Sunset Ridge Elementary School have exhibited incredible tireless efforts in working together with other parents at the site and the other parent groups district-wide. And whereas the Sunset Ridge Elementary School PTO, Diversity Inclusion Action Team, Parent Council Committee, DLAC, CPAC, Room Parent Committee, the School Site Council, and ELAC, and the Room Parent Committee have worked so very well together, recognizing their similarities and differences in their capacities as volunteers and parents, and make Sunset Ridge shine each and every day. And now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Pacifica School District recognizes the Sunset Ridge Elementary School parent volunteer groups for their many contributions to the students and families of the district. And further be it resolved that the board hereby extends its heartfelt appreciation to the Sunset Ridge parent volunteer groups on behalf of the community, staff, and most importantly, the students of the district. Regularly passed and adopted this 12th day of June, 2024.
All right, this is Ortega. Ortega Elementary School Parent Groups. Resolved by the Board of Trustees of the Pacifica School District, County of San Mateo, and State of California, that whereas the Ortega Elementary School Parent Council, CPAC, and PTO parent volunteers have been a treasured, supportive, and invaluable volunteer base for the Ortega Elementary School sites, always recognizing that it is all about the children. And whereas the parent volunteers of Ortega Elementary School have brought a wealth of experience, energy, and excitement to the benefit of the Ortega school site by contributing their time and efforts to provide a warm, welcoming, and professional, rewarding atmosphere for the teachers and staff of the school. And whereas the parents have been given liberally to the volunteer time and effort, especially on Thursdays, where they made copies, laminated, cut, and bookbind for teachers, always putting in a good deal of their own personality into every volunteer effort, such as decorating and welcoming bulletin boards to highlight the different heritage months. And whereas each member of these vital groups has worked tirelessly when asked to raise monies to provide the vital supplemental programs needed for our school sites, including art classes, garden science, and physical education, and oftentimes raising money to provide for the basic needs of the school. And whereas the parent groups of Ortega Elementary School have exhibited incredible and tireless effort in working together with other parents at the site to plan and host events that build community and highlight our diversity, including the Global Village celebration. And whereas the Ortega Elementary School Parent Council, CPAC, and PTO parent groups have worked so very well together, recognizing their similarities and differences in their capacities as volunteers and parents. And now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Pacifica School District recognize Ortega Elementary School parent volunteer groups for their many contributions to the students and families of the district. And furthermore, be it resolved that the board hereby extends a heartfelt appreciation to Ortega Elementary School Parent Council, CPAC, and PTO on behalf of the community, staff, and most importantly, the students of the district. Regularly passed and adopted this 12th day of June 2024. You want to-
Ingrid B. Lacey Middle School Parent Groups. Resolved by the Board of Trustees of the Pacifica School District, County of San Mateo, State of California, that whereas the Ingrid B. Lacey Middle School Parent Council, CPAC, PTO parent groups, and have had a treasured, supportive, and invaluable volunteer base for the Ingrid B. Lacey Middle School site, always recognizing that it is all about the children, and whereas the parent volunteers of Ingrid B. Lacey Middle School have brought a wealth of experience, energy, and excitement to the benefit of the Ingrid B. Lacey School site by contributing their time and efforts to provide a warm, welcoming, and professionally rewarding atmosphere for the teachers and staff of the school. And whereas the parents have given liberally by their volunteer time and effort, always putting in a good deal of their own personality into every volunteer effort. And whereas each member of these vital groups has worked tirelessly when asked to raise monies to provide the extras needed for the school site and created events and activities that build and strengthen our school community. And whereas the parent groups of Ingrid B. Lacey Middle School have exhibited incredible and tireless effort in working together with other parents at the site and the other parent groups district-wide. And whereas the Ingrid B. Lacey Middle School Parent Council, CPAC, and PTO parent groups have worked so very well together, recognizing their similarities and differences in their capacity as volunteers and parents. And now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Pacifica School District recognize the Ingrid B. Lacey School Parent Council, CPAC, and PTO parent groups for their many contributions to the students and families of the district. And further be it resolved that the board hereby extends its heartfelt appreciation to the Ingrid B. Lacey Middle School Parent Council, CPAC, and PTO parent groups on behalf of the community, staff, and most importantly, the students of the district. Regularly passed and adopted this 12th day of June 2024.
I'm going to read for Lindemar Educational Center. Resolved by the Board of Trustees of the Pacifica School District, County of San Mateo, State of California, that whereas the Lindemar Educational Center parent groups have been a treasured, supportive, and invaluable base for the Lindemar Educational Center site, always recognizing that it is all about the children, and whereas the Family Outreach Liaison of Lindemar Educational Center has dedicated countless hours and resources to provide invaluable family and community outreach that supports the inclusion and growth of students of all abilities. And whereas the Family Outreach Liaison and the parents of Lindemar Educational Center have brought a wealth of experience, energy, and excitement to the benefit of the Lindemar Educational Center site by contributing their time and efforts to provide a warm, welcoming, and professionally rewarding atmosphere for the teachers and staff of the school. And whereas the parents have given liberally of their time, always putting in a good deal of their own personality into every effort, and whereas each member of these vital groups has worked tirelessly when asked to raise monies to provide the extras needed for the school site, and oftentimes raising money to provide for the basic needs of the school. And whereas the parents of Lindemar Educational Center have exhibited incredible and tireless effort in working together with the staff at the site and the other parent groups district-wide, and whereas the Lindemar Educational Center Family Outreach Liaison, parents, CPAC, Pacifica School volunteers, and a myriad of other volunteer positions that make the school run so smoothly every day have worked so very well together, recognizing their similarities and differences in their capacity as volunteers and parents. And now, therefore, be it resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Pacifica School District recognizes Lindemar Educational Center parent volunteers for their many contributions to the students and families of the district. And further, be it resolved that the board hereby extends its heartfelt appreciation to the Lindemar Educational Center parent groups on behalf of the community, staff, and most importantly, the students of the district, regularly passed and adopted this 12th day of June, 2024.
Ocean Shore School Parent Groups. Resolved by the Board of Trustees of the Pacifica School District, County of San Mateo, State of California, that whereas the Ocean Shore School Parent Groups have been a treasured, supportive, and invaluable volunteer base for the Ocean Shore School site, always recognizing that it is all about the children. And whereas the parent volunteers of Ocean Shore School have brought a wealth of experience, energy, and excitement to the benefit of the Ocean Shore School site by contributing their time and efforts to provide a warm, welcoming, and professionally rewarding atmosphere for the teachers and staff of the schools. And whereas the parents have given liberally of their volunteer time and effort, always putting in a good deal of their own personality into every volunteer effort. And whereas each member of these vital groups has worked tirelessly when asked to raise money to provide the extras needed for the school site, and oftentimes raising money to provide for the basic needs of the school. And whereas the parent groups of Ocean Shore School have exhibited incredible and tireless effort in working together with other parents at the site and the other parent groups district-wide. And whereas the Ocean Shore School Parent Teacher Organization, including the Diversity Learning Group, Environmental Action Team, representatives to all district committees, including Parent Council, as well as individuals and groups who oversee and help manage all of the Ocean Shore classrooms, special activities, Oceans 411, field trips, and enrichment, have worked together recognizing their common goal of experiential learning and a well-rounded education in their capacity as volunteers and parents. And now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Pacifica School District recognizes the Ocean Shore School parent volunteer groups for their many contributions to the students and families of the district. And further be it resolved that the board hereby extends its heartfelt appreciation to the Ocean Shore School parent volunteers on behalf of the community, staff, and most importantly, the students of the district, regularly passed and adopted this 12th day of June, 2024.
Finally, Cabrillo, which usually goes first, they're last this time, but not least. Cabrillo Elementary Parent Student Group, resolved by the Board of Trustees of the Pacifica School District, County of San Mateo, State of California, that whereas the Cabrillo Elementary School parent groups have been a treasured, supportive, and invaluable volunteer base for the Cabrillo Elementary School site, always recognizing that it is all about the children. And whereas the parent volunteers of Cabrillo Elementary School have brought a wealth of experience, energy, and excitement to the benefit of the Cabrillo Elementary School sites by contributing valuable time and efforts to providing a warm, welcoming, and professional, rewarding atmosphere for the teachers and staff of the school. And whereas the parents have given liberally of their volunteer time and efforts, always putting a good deal of their own personality into every volunteer effort. And whereas each member of these vital groups has worked tirelessly when asked to raise money to provide the extra needed for the school site, and oftentimes raising money to provide for the basic needs of the school, and ensuring that there are rich opportunities for our students for enriched learning in the arts and music. And whereas the parent groups of Cabrillo Elementary School have exhibited incredible and tireless effort in working together with one another at the site and the other parent groups district-wide. And Whereas the Cabrillo Elementary School Parent Council, CPAC, PTO, PED, liaisons, parent stakeholder committees, class liaisons, creative arts volunteers, library volunteers, and a myriad of other volunteer positions that make the school run so smoothly every day have worked so very well together, recognizing their similarities and differences in their capacities as volunteers and parents. And now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Pacifica School District recognize Cabrillo Elementary School parent volunteers for their many contributions to the students, staff, and families of the district. And further, be it resolved that the board hereby extends a heartfelt appreciation to Cabrillo Elementary School parent groups on behalf of the community, staff, and most importantly, the students of the district, regularly passed and adopted this 12th day of June 2024.
Okay, so this is an action item. So are there any questions? No. Do I have a motion to approve these resolutions? A motion to approve?
I'll second.
Trustee Bernal,
Yep.
trustee Burkini,
Yes.
trustee Doggett,
Yes.
Ms. Patel is absent, trustee Villalobos.
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we're moving on to 12B, adoption of the 2024-25 budget. And this is an action item.
Okay, thank you, trustee Villalobos. So we did review the 24-25 budget, proposed budget at the last board meeting. And that all of those forms and the budget presentation is linked to this item. So the assumptions leading up to the 24-25 budget were all reviewed. And as you know, we did review, even though it's a positive status, we did review some of the district's fiscal indicators. We also are aware of the uncertainties of the state budget and the risks that could affect our Pacifica School District budget. The next step will be for the state to finalize their budget in June, and then we will begin revising our budget to reflect the final actual state budget, the district's final salaries and health benefit costs, and the district's final staffing. All of this information will be gathered and ready for presentation during November for the first interim report. I'm happy to take any questions.
Linda, do you have any questions?
No questions. Thank you.
No questions, but we do have to wait for Elizabeth.
Yeah, we're waiting for Elizabeth.
I will make a motion to approve them.
And I'll second.
Do you have any questions?
About approving the budget.
We made.
Yeah, we read through it.
Yes.
So, trustee Bernal, can you come?
Yes.
Trustee Burkini,
Yes.
trustee Doggett,
Yes.
trustee Villalobos.
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0.
Thank you, Josie. Thank you. Okay, and now we are moving on to C, adoption of the 2024-25 local control accountability plan, or LCAP.
Okay.
Yeah.
So again, on May 22nd, just as Josie had mentioned, on May 22nd, there was a public hearing around the local control accountability plan for the 24-25 school year. There were recommendations and comments from the public were solicited. There was no comments or recommendations that were brought forward. Between that time and actually during that time and after that time, the San Mateo County Office of Education was also reviewing the draft of the local control accountability plan. And there were some very minor changes, but I want to highlight some significant additions that were made to it. Added action 2.9, intervention support for unduplicated student populations, which describes site-based directed support for unduplicated student populations. We just had the SIPSAs being formed to you. So the funding, the supplemental funding that was provided through that. And then there was an added action of 2.10, supplemental site administrator support for academic behavior and social emotional intervention, which provides administrative support for English learners, foster youth, and socioeconomically disadvantaged student groups. And then added the metric for 2.10, the percentage of teachers receiving integrated designated English language development, staff development, which was added to measure the effectiveness of action 2.1, implementation of integrated and designated ELD and staff development. Those were the three main items that were added. You got the final LCAP in the packet in the attachments. So I don't know if you have any questions.
Linda, are you there? Do you have any questions?
No questions.
I have no questions. Anybody else? Okay, this is an action item. Do you have a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve.
A second.
Trustee Vidal,
Yes.
trustee Bertini,
Yes.
trustee Doggett,
Yes.
trustee Willis.
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0.
All right. Now we're moving on to 12D, approval of arts, music, instructional materials, discretionary block grant plan. This is an action item.
Thank you. So tonight we want to present to you the Arts, Music, Instructional Materials Discretionary Block Grant. These are one-time funds that Governor Newsom allotted to school districts last school year. And I just kind of want to go over what the criteria is for these funds that he gave the school district. So the funds are available to obtain standards-aligned professional development and instructional materials in specified areas, obtain professional development on improving school culture, develop diverse and culturally relevant book collections, operational costs, and COVID personal protective equipment. So the governing board shall discuss and approve a plan for expenditures at a regularly scheduled board meeting. And thank you, Stan, for presenting. We can go ahead and move on to the plan. It's the next page. Thank you. So here's a summary plan. We received $1.6 million for this one-time block grant, and the funds need to be spent by June 30, 2026. So what you have here is, 4 years. In 2022-23 is when he first allotted the funds, and there's a breakdown of how those funds were spent. In the first year, there was payments of employee stipends. That was the year where we had large carpet replacements in all of our schools, and it was such a tight timeline that we had to pack the classrooms and get them ready for the carpet to be replaced and then unpack. So during that time, we did pay the teachers stipends for packing and unpacking their classrooms. There was some professional development, some student support intervention, and then technology. This helped us, replace technology needs for students. And we had some operational costs. Now, when I talk about operational costs over the years, I'll kind of give you descriptions. With COVID funds, we were able to cover some of our operations, mostly cleaning and like PPE supplies. And with the expiration of COVID funds, we were able to now use these funds for some of the operations. And operations in the first year really was minor cleaning type COVID PPE. Now, in the second year, which is this current fiscal year, we've almost spent this full amount. It's and I'll show you how the sheet works too. There's a total. We spent 184,000 and we have a balance of 1.5 million in the first year. So taking that 1.5 million into the second year, there was just a little bit spent on employee stipends. I think that was also some of the, when teachers have to move classrooms, those types of things. So it's just $6,000. Some instructional materials, again, technology. And in 23-24, we did have to, it was the next, I guess the next time for the LCAP to be revisited. So we did have some consulting fees on the LCAP development and some support there. We also had some communications costs. In prior years with COVID, we were able to spend some COVID funds on communications, and with the expiration of the COVID funds, we used these funds to pay for some of the communications cost. And then we also started the Budget Advisory Committee, which was really important for our district, especially given our budget status. And that committee was very helpful this year in informing the community of our budget and letting, giving them an opportunity to give us feedback on what were the issues that they faced out at the school site. So we did spend some money getting that budget advisory committee up and running and some consulting fees in this school year. And then operations was quite a bit this year because, again, with the expiration of COVID funds, we no longer had those funds to help with cleaning, HVAC, and some of the grounds work that we had to do during this year. And with HVAC, with this category, the budget does go down in the next couple of years because we do now have the CalShape grant, so we will no longer need to use these funds for HVAC. And also the hope is with custodial cleaning, if we can raise some of our substitute rates and improve our attendance with some of our staff, we would no longer need these funds to contract out for some of those services. So when you see operations, it's the highest in 23-24, and we're projecting that to go down. The last category is indirect. There's a small charge for programs that covers the operations of the district in keeping track and reporting for these. So in this fiscal year, we're budgeted to spend about $287,000, leaving us a balance of $1.2 million. And then for 24-25 and 25-26, these really are projections. For at this time, we are due for a textbook adoption for both social studies, and it could be also ELA or math. So we kind of divided the instructional materials funding into those 2 years. It could be more in 1 year or less in 1 year, depending on how fast we can get a committee up and running to look at textbook adoptions. So that's instructional materials. And then technology, we put a budget in there so that we can continue replacing devices and supporting whatever needs the students have in technology. And we also continue to budget for any kind of support with the LCAP and also communications, and to keep the budget advisory committee going. Now, again, these are just budgeted figures in the 24-25 and 25-26 school year. We also left a placeholder for operations and then indirect costs. So looking into the last 2 years, there's a balance of $642,000 in 24-25, and then we're budgeting for it to be fully expended in 25-26, which we do need to spend the funds by the end of June 2026. I know there was some, I think I covered the questions that I had received ahead of time. Yeah, I think I did cover those questions. If not, if you have additional questions, please, yes.
It's called arts and music, so I don't see any arts and music in there.
Arts, music, yeah, art, music, instructional materials, discretionary block grants. So nothing specifically for arts and music. Fortunately, and will present next, we did receive specific funding for arts, for music. And so the schools are getting that directly. So at this time, there isn't anything specifically. Some of the instructional materials could be for arts and music, depending on how we spend instructional materials. But yes, we don't have anything specific at this time for arts and music.
Does anybody have any questions? Are there any questions from the online people at all? No. Okay, and this is an action item, so we do need to vote on it. So where, do I have a motion to approve the arts, music, instructional materials discretionary block grant plan? A motion to approve?
I'll second.
Trustee Bordeaux,
Yes.
trustee Burkini,
Yes.
trustee Doggett,
Yes.
trustee Villalobos.
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0.
Okay, and we're moving on to 12E Prop 28 annual report. This is action item 2. Will?
Hi again. So Prop 28, so as Josie mentioned, this is specifically allocated to the sites. So this report is required by the CDE to you submit a report annually to the CDE and make sure it's also posted on the LEA website, and then the report needs to be approved by the board annually also. So you have the 1-page annual report. It's a very concise report. It doesn't ask for too much details, but I can give you the details about how the funding is being used or was used in the 23-24. These figures here were pulled off directly from our financial 2000 about how we have a management code specifically for the Prop 28. And so I don't know if you have any questions with regards to the report, or I can answer them anything you'd like.
Anybody have any questions? No? And this is an action item, so do I have a motion to approve the Prop 28 annual report? I'll make a motion.
Trustee Patel,
Yep.
trustee Bertini,
Yes.
trustee Doggett.
Yes.
Trustee Gilberto.
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0.
Now we're moving on to 12F, declaration of need for fully qualified educators for 2024-25 school year. This is an action item.
Good evening, Board of Trustees and Superintendent Dr. Williams. Tonight, we would like to bring for approval the Declaration of Need for Fully Qualified Educators. The Declaration of Need for Fully Qualified Educators is annually submitted to the Commission on Teacher Credentialing that allows for flexibility should unforeseen circumstances arise to fill a teaching position with a teacher that's not fully credentialed. The form contains a projected number of needed emergency permits and limited assignment permits for fully qualified educators across the identified categories. Based on the projections of enrollment, we anticipate needing emergency and/or intern permits for the following areas: CLAD, English Learner Authorization, Resource Specialist, Multiple Subject, Single Subject, Special Education, and Authorization for Single Subject Limited Assignment for the upcoming 2024-2025 school year. Therefore, it is recommended that the board approve the Declaration of Need for Fully Qualified Educators for the 2024-2025 school year.
Are there any questions? Okay, this is an action item. So do I have a motion to approve the Declaration of Need for Fully Qualified Educators?
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'm sorry. Trustee Patel,
Yes.
trustee Bertini,
Yes.
trustee Doggett,
Yes.
trustee Lobos.
Yes.
Passes 4-0. Thank you.
Okay, and we're moving on to 12G, approval of internal update of administrative regulation 4154, 4254, and 4354, health and welfare benefits. And this is an action item.
We would like to bring for approval an update to Administrative Regulation 4154, 4254, 4354, health and welfare benefits. There was a need to update Administrative Regulation 4154, 4254, 4354. Changes include formatting of headings, adding the language from the district in the first paragraph under retired management confidential employees, and adding language with more specificity regarding cabinet level management employees that retire from the Pacifica School District. And in the attachment, you will see red highlights and also any strikeouts to see the difference. Therefore, it is recommended that the Board of Trustees approve the internal update to Administrative Regulation 4154, 4254, 4354, health and welfare benefits. And I can answer any questions.
Are there any questions?
No.
Linda? No?
No questions.
This is an action item. Do you have a motion to approve the updated administrative regulations as presented?
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Trustee Patel,
Yes.
trustee Bertini,
Yes.
trustee Doggett,
Yes.
trustee Lobos.
Yes.
Passes 4-0. Thank you.
And we're moving on to 12H, approval of Assistant Superintendent of Business Services and Facilities, Chief Business Official, CBO, job description and title. And this is an action item.
Tonight, we'd like to bring for approval the Assistant Superintendent of Business Services and Facilities, Chief Business Official, CBO, job description and title. After 25 years of service, Josie Peterson, Chief Business Official, has resigned from her position in the Pacifica School District for a promotional opportunity. The Pacifica School District thanks and appreciates the commitment and difference Josie has made to our Pacifica School District community. As we wish Josie all the best in her new position, we are now in search for a new Chief Business Official. During this transition and in awareness of the difficulty in recruiting for the CBO position, we worked collaboratively to update the title and the job description for recruiting purposes. The new title of the position is proposed to be Assistant Superintendent of Business Services and Facilities, Chief Business Official. We took the current job description and used samples from other California school districts to update and make changes. The attached draft shows in yellow the new added language and the stripes show language deleted. Pending board approval, the open position was posted May 30th, 2024. The open position is posted on EdJoin, AXA Careers, EdCal, California Association of School Business Officials, CASBO, Careers, and the San Mateo County of Education will be posting the position on School Services Careers soon. We are working closely with the San Mateo County Office of Education to support the search for candidates. Therefore, it is recommended that the Board of Trustees approve the updated Chief Business Official job description and title to that of Assistant Superintendent of Business Services and Facilities, Chief Business Official, CBO.
And this is an action item. Are there any questions?
No questions.
No questions. Do I have a motion to approve? Hold on a second. I'm going to have to read this part and so I'm sorry, I accidentally.
No, motion to approve the job.
No, there's definitely this one. So I have a motion to approve, the proposed job description and title.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Oh, there it is. Okay. Sorry, I was confused.
Bernal. Trustee Bernal.
Yes.
Trustee, I'm sorry, I'm doing it too. Trustee, Burkini.
Yes.
Trustee Doggett.
Yes.
And trustee Gillis.
Yes. All right.
Motion passes 4-0.
Okay, so now we are on 12I, approval to hire an executive director of educational support services. Carla, it's you again. Action.
Yes. We would like to request approval to hire a new Executive Director of Educational Support Services. Dr. Carissa Bowman has been selected as a new Executive Director of Educational Support Services for school year 2024-2025. Dr. Bowman has over 20 years of experience in leadership, special education, and a strong commitment to culturally responsive, inclusive educational practices. Her leadership philosophy is rooted in the belief that every student deserves access to a high-quality education that addresses the whole child and prepares them for success in an ever-changing world. Dr. Bowman is deeply committed to equity and inclusion and has experience implementing initiatives that address achievement gaps, promote diversity, and support the diverse needs of all learners. Professional positions that Dr. Bowman has served in include general education teacher, special education teacher, special education coordinator, assistant principal, principal, director, executive director, and coordinator of student services and special education. Her experiences range in both the public and private sectors in education in both California and Maryland. Dr. Carissa Bowman holds a doctorate of education in organizational leadership from Grand Canyon University, Certificate of Advanced Studies, Leadership for Changing Populations in Public Education from the College of Notre Dame of Maryland, Graduate Certification in Special Education from Towson University, a Master's of Education in Administration and Supervision from Frostburg State University, and a Bachelor of Science in Social Science Secondary Education, also from Frostburg State University. Currently, Dr. Bowman is studying for her Master's in Business Administration from the University of California, Davis, with an anticipated completion date in 2027. We are excited to welcome Dr. Bowman to the Pacifica School District community. Therefore, it is recommended that the Board of Trustees approve Pacifica School District to hire Dr. Carissa Bowman as the Executive Director of Educational Support Services for the school year 2024-2025. And Dr. Carissa Bowman is here tonight. She is sitting here in the audience, being very patient to work with us.
Would you like to have?
Sure, I can do it.
Do we want to approve first?
Do I have a motion to approve the hiring of Dr. Carissa Bowman as Executive Director of Educational Support Services for 24-25?
I'll make a motion to approve.
A second?
Trustee Burdette,
Yes.
trustee Bikini,
Yes.
trustee Doggett,
Yes.
trustee Gilopoulos.
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0.
All right.
Well, first, thank you for the approval.
So just a quick introduction, although it was very thorough, thank you. I started my career in education in Baltimore City. I spent about 17 years there as a teacher, special ed and general ed. Became a principal, assistant principal, and then I came to California right before the pandemic. I had very good timing. I got here and everything shut down, but I did have the opportunity to do research for kids with autism for my PhD while I was here. And my son and I fell in love with California, and we haven't left. And he likes to say he's a surfer, especially now, because we are moving to Pacifica, because I really want to be part of the community that I'm serving. And he's a surfer in Pacifica and a snowboarder on the East Coast. So he's really enjoying it. And I'm very, very excited to be part of Pacifica School District. And I'm hoping in my interview, I was my last kind of professional home. If I hadn't left Baltimore to do research, I probably would have retired there, and I'm looking for that home, and I really hope that this is the place and moving forward. So thank you again for the approval, and look forward to working with everyone. So thank you.
Welcome. Okay. Now moving on to 12J, approval to hire an interim assistant superintendent of business services and facilities, chief business official, CEO. Carla.
We would like to request approval to hire an interim assistant superintendent of business services and facilities, chief business official, CBO for the school year 2024-2025. During the school year 2024-2025, there will be a more comprehensive search for this position. Dr. Dwayne Davis has been selected as the interim assistant superintendent of business services and facilities, chief business official. Dr. Davis's career experience and trajectory include being a teacher, director of instruction, executive director of secondary education, assistant superintendent of performing and planning, Deputy Superintendent, Chief Strategy and Accountability Officer. Dr. Davis's most recent experience as Chief Operations Officer, Education Services, led him to provide necessary leadership, support, direction, and evaluation of the educational program and compliance for a charter school management organization serving students in 4 schools and 3 states. He audited all instructional programs, reviewed programmatic data, prepared appropriate reports, and collaborated with local, state, and federal agencies. Dr. Davis attributes his success to working collaboratively with educational partners and bargaining union leadership, and considering input of staffs and parents who are closest to our students. Dr. Davis has been described as fair, transparent, approachable, able to build relationships, maintain confidentiality, and remain open in communication. Dr. Dwayne Davis holds a Chief Business Official certification from the California Association of School Business Officials, CASBO, a School Business Management Program certificate from the University of Southern California, a doctorate in institutional management from Pepperdine University, a Master's of Arts in Educational Administration, Bachelor's of Arts in History and Teaching credential from Cal State University, Northridge. We are excited to welcome Dr. Davis to the Pacifica School District community, and I think he's online. Oh, there he is. Therefore, it is recommended that the Board of Trustees approve Pacifica School District to hire Dr. Dwayne Davis as the interim assistant superintendent of Business Services and Facilities Chief Business Official, CBO, for the school year 2024-2025. An employment contract for this position was developed and attached for board approval.
So I do need to read the conditions. California Government Code Section 54953C3 requires that a verbal summary of this proposed compensation and fringe benefits be given to the public prior to the final board action on certain employment agreements. The proposed agreement for the following: interim assistant superintendent and chief business official Dwayne Davis, I hope I said that correctly, contains the following material terms. Number one, term. The term of the proposed employment agreement with Mr. Dwayne Davis for the interim assistant superintendent and chief business official position shall begin on July 1st, 2024, and shall continue through June 30th, 2025. Compensation. The following constitutes the employee's base annual salary effective July 1st, 2024. The interim assistant superintendent and chief business official shall be compensated an annual salary of $193,724. 3, benefits. The interim assistant superintendent and chief business official shall be entitled to health care coverage under the same group medical, dental, optical, and other group health insurance plans as provided by the district to other classified management employees on the same terms and conditions, and subject to the same copays, deductibles, and premium payment requirements, as those benefits may change from time to time through board action. If the interim agreement is terminated prior to June 30th, 2025, employees shall receive 30 days of health care coverage. 4, vacation, sick leave, and holidays. The interim assistant superintendent and chief business official shall be entitled to 25 days of vacation, 1 day of sick leave for each month of service rendered, and the holidays as are provided to classified management personnel. Number 5, work year. The interim assistant superintendent and chief business official classified management work year shall be 261 days, which includes work days, holidays, and vacation. Number 6, duties. The interim assistant superintendent and chief business official will perform all duties and functions of the position as provided in the district's chief business official job description, as directed by the superintendent and consistent with all applicable board policies and regulations and applicable laws for this position. It is understood that the demands of this position will require the interim assistant superintendent and chief business official to average more than 8-hour workday or 40-hour work week. Therefore, the parties agree that employees shall not be entitled to overtime compensation. Number 7. This concludes the summary of the employment agreement for the interim assistant superintendent and chief business official. A complete copy of this agreement is available from the district office upon request. Are there any questions? Does anybody want to discuss anything? Linda?
No questions, but I'm excited about what the next steps. Getting and getting to know you. So thank you.
All right. Do I have a motion to approve the hiring of Dr. Dwayne Davis as interim assistant superintendent of business services and facilities, chief business office, CBO, for the 24-25 school year?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second?
Trustee Berdal,
Yes.
trustee Bikini,
Yes.
trustee Doggett,
Yeah.
trustee Williams,
Yes.
motion passes 4-0.
Thank you.
All right, welcome.
Would you like to say something? Would you like to say something?
Absolutely. So good afternoon, good evening, board president, members of the board, Superintendent Williams, of course, members of the public, as well as the community and staff members. Thank you for the opportunity. I'm really, really excited about being a part of Pacifica School District. You have to forgive my absence today. I've had a cold for about a week, and I think I'm still in that contagious stage, and I don't want to disrupt the meeting or risk anyone else's health at this point in time. But please know that I will be quite healthy within the next couple of days and be ready for work as directed. With that being said, as Dr. Torres mentioned, my background has been quite expansive through education, as we spoke about, from being academics to operations, currently as the Chief Operation Officer. That being said as well, and I do want to thank and recognize Ms. Peterson for her stalwart career over the last 25 years as a CBO. She's done a phenomenal job keeping Pacifica together. And so as you all are welcoming, as you all are congratulating her on her next step, please allow me to join in that congratulatory comment as well.
Thank you. All right. So I just want to thank both of you. Employees. All right. Okay. Excuse me, I'm just reading over something really quick. Okay, we're on K, approval to hire a coordinator of student services and approval of job description. And this is an action item. Dr. Torres.
We would like to bring for approval the hiring of a coordinator of student services, including approval of the corresponding job description. Pacifica School District sees a need to hire a coordinator of student services. Under the direction of the Director of Special Education and Student Services, the coordinator of student services will assist in the development, operations, coordination, communication, and professional development of the student services programs and services. The coordinator of student services will serve as a resource for families and students throughout the Pacifica School District schools, specifically in the areas of mental health and school counseling. The coordinator of student services will provide crisis response and recovery to schools, facilitate communities of practice, as well as provide technical assistance to schools for foster youth, students experiencing homelessness, and building in-house school-based mental health supports. Pending board approval, this position was posted as a vacancy on May 30th, 2024, and will close on June 19th, 2024. Anticipated interviews are planned for June 24th and 25th, and anticipated start date, July 1st, 2024. This is a certificated management position, which would be funded using grant funding and general funds. The approximate salary cost would be between $136,787 and $173,277, with an additional retirement and health benefit cost. The new job description was developed using samples from other coordinator of student services job descriptions from other California school districts and discussion with various educational partners. See attached draft of the coordinator of student services job descriptions. Therefore, it is recommended that the Board of Trustees approve the hiring of a coordinator of student services and the related job description.
Are there any questions?
No questions.
Linda?
No questions.
Okay, this is an action item. Do I have a motion to approve the hiring of a coordinator of student services and the related job description? Motion approved.
I'll second.
Trustee Bridell,
Yes.
trustee Burkini,
Yes.
Doggett,
Yes.
trustee Williams.
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0.
All right, and Dr. Torres is still there because we're on L, approval of management salary schedules 2024-25, and it is an action item.
And this is my last item. I'd like to bring for approval 4 updated management salary schedules for the 2024-2025 school year. Pacifica School District collaboratively engage in meet and confer sessions with labor partner Laguna Salada Management Association, LSMA, and individual cabinet members during the 2023-2024 school year. Both groups received salary increases, which are reflected in the updated 2024-2025 salary schedules, which were attached. Compensation increases include a 2% salary increase beginning July 1st, 2024. In addition, a new cabinet management salary schedule was developed to separate cabinet members from the certificated and classified management salary schedules. This was done as a meet and confer process for cabinet members is separate from those of other management that are part of the Laguna Salada Management Association, LSMA. Also, both LSMA and cabinet members will receive a higher medical, health, and welfare benefit cap based on the cost of the 2022-2023 two-party Kaiser beginning July 1st, 2024. Lastly, all management salary schedule includes a sentence at the bottom stating initial placement based on years of experience can be at any step. Therefore, it is recommended that the Board of Trustees approve the 2024-2025 Pacifica School District classified, certificated, confidential, and cabinet management salary schedules.
Any questions? No? Okay, do I have a motion to approve the management salary schedules for 2024-25?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Yes.
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 Motion passes 4-0.
Thank you.
Okay, so, oh, I'm the speaker this time. Okay, we're on 12M, discussion, consideration, and approval of superintendent first addendum employment agreement. And this is an action item, and I do need to read something prior to discussion. The next agenda item addresses the board's open session discussion and possible approval of a first addendum employment agreement with Superintendent Dr. Darnice Williams. The first addendum employment agreement contains the following material items, or terms, sorry. Work year. Dr. Williams' first addendum employment agreement is effective July 1st, 2024, includes the following revision. Revise the reference to 8 days in the last sentence in section 5 titled Work Year of the May 6, 2023 agreement and replace it with 17 days. Unless otherwise described in the first addendum superintendent agreement, the terms of the superintendent employment shall be consistent with the following. The superintendent's employment agreement dated May 6, 2023. This concludes the summary of the one material term of the proposed first addendum superintendent employment agreement. A complete copy of the first addendum superintendent employment agreement is available from the district office upon request. Are there any questions? No? This is an action item. So do I have a motion to approve the superintendent first addendum employment agreement?
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Trustee Vidal.
Yes.
Trustee Burkini.
Yes.
Trustee Doggett.
Yes.
Trustee Gillibrand.
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0. Thank you.
All right, and we are on 12N, resolution number 2024-06-12-1. Calling for an election on November 5th, 2024, and this is an action item. Dr. Williams?
Yeah, the resolution number 2024-06-12 calls for an election to be taken place on November 5th, 2024 for election of 2 members of the governing board of the Pacifica School District. It is our recommendation that the resolution be adopted this evening to move forward with the process in the upcoming election.
Are there any questions? No. Do I have a motion to approve this resolution? I'll second.
Oh, yes.
Trustee Burkini,
Yes.
trustee Doggett,
Yes.
trustee Gilibus.
Yes.
Passes 4-0.
Okay, and Board of Trustees Superintendent's recap and future agenda items. Would anybody like to recap? Or share something?
I do want to take a moment to acknowledge Dr. Williams' leadership. I want you to know that the elevation of the presentations at our board meetings has not gone unnoticed. Since you've been here, it's a noticeable change. It's also the use of data that has been very helpful. So I just want to take a moment to acknowledge that there's a difference and we see it, and to let you know that we appreciate it. Thank you.
Linda or Elizabeth? Any? afternoon?
No. No more
I just want to thank Josie for all of her years of service here, because I've been on the board for 10 years now, and she's always been, I would say, the most reliable person, and always keeping us in line with our budget and being honest when you had to. So that was a little hard sometimes, but thank you so much for your service, and I'll see you in Jefferson Elementary. All right, and Dr. Williams, do you have any other comments?
Want to thank both Josie Peterson for your service to the district. Wonderful opportunity just to elevate your work as well. And thank you for having hard conversations with me and the community. And we do appreciate your dedication and wish you much success as your journey continues to service kids and communities in a fiscally sound environment. And so thank you. And to Executive Director, it's Will. Lucy, we just really appreciate you, and we see that you really worked hard. I did a lot of compliance, but also academics to move forward the district goal of addressing the needs for all students. And so we do appreciate your 8 years of service. We wish you well. We wish we were able to retire too right now. So in your journey, remember, in your get rest. And so thank you for all that you've done for our community.
And so just in conclusion, thank you, John, Will, and Josie.
Thank you.
And congratulations to our 2 new hires.
You want to say something?
Does anybody want to say anything?
Goodbye.
Meetings adjourned at 9:07.
Thank you, everyone.